The Citi Breakfast Show. The city's biggest conversation. The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise. This is the Citi Breakfast Show, live on your dial 97.3 FM. Welcome to Thursday, November 3, 2022. Good morning, bonjour, buenos dias. Let's have breakfast. My name is Nathan Quao, sitting in for Bernard Avle. It's always an honor and a pleasure bringing you the biggest breakfast in town. And you are welcome. Please have a seat. Join us on 0549 986 996. The unmistakable voice of Papa Yankson putting together a medley. We give praise to our God and our Maker. Start off with our business sense. Brought to us by ADB. Now, if you're a salaried worker and your paycheck runs through ADB, I have wonderful news for you this Thursday morning. You can access up to 10,000 cedis or 80% of your next net monthly salary with the ADB Payday Plus. Now, it's designed to help you solve a pressing need before payday. And remember, there's no interest on repayments within 30 days and your money hits your account the same day. You can call Meredith on 0243 273 369 if you are interested. Or you can call now as well on 0244 284 197. ADB, truly a Greek and more. And our business sense today comes from Robin Sharma. Robin Sharma says, leadership is not a popularity contest. It's about leaving your ego at the door. The name of the game is to lead without a title. Leadership is not a popularity contest. It's about leaving your ego at the door. And the name of the game is to lead without a title. So the titles are just descriptive. The title doesn't make you. What makes you is the fact that you've left your ego at the door and you are ready and willing to humble yourself and submit to the task beforehand. Submit to the objective and work hard to make that objective a reality. So don't fixate over the title. Don't fixate over the position. Your job is to lead without a title. The title doesn't make the leader. What makes the leader is his ability to guide, to supervise, to inspire, and to take people from one level to the other and to make better human beings out of them. That's our business sense. Comes from Robin S. Sharma. Business sense brought to us by ADB. ADB, truly a Greek and more. Coming up next is the newspaper review. Please take and stay. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
And Kokui, how are we doing? Good morning.
Good morning, Obudai.
Yeah. What's happening?
The hustle is real, man.
It is.
It's real.
It is. I'm telling you.
You know,
it ain't no joke.
It ain't no joke. I have to buy petrol. Like I'm flirting with emptiness in my tank, and I've held on but I have to buy petrol today, I'm dreading.
Be ready.
Dreading how much I'm going to have to spend to get a decent amount in the tank.
Yes. This morning I filled half my tank for 410 cedis.
Mine will be more than that. I know.
I filled half my tank.
Yeah, it will
Have
be.
you seen the price of cement?
Because the last time I bought petrol, based on that, and that was before the increase to 17.99. So that's why I said I'm dreading. I don't even want to think about it.
And the stories are that outside of Accra, a lot of the stations are saying, look, we are not moving cars. Either allow us to increase prices more. So quite a few things happening around, most of the time. If you go to the central region, I think it was in Komenda, KEA, there were issues there. In the Ashanti region as well, I think there have been some issues as well with some stations saying we are not moving right now because it's too expensive for us to move our cars. It is expensive for us to move our. Yesterday, I was returning from a meeting and I was going to put my usual 200 in. Charlie. Charlie, the guy put the thing. I didn't even just talk. I just looked at it like the thing didn't wink.
Me get 200.
200 now pursue no cry.
200. What's 200 gonna do in this day and age? Like when you say 200 cedis, people still think it's like so much money. Listen, 200 cedis is not even $20. I hate to do that comparison.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, I put in my usual 200.
And the gauge.
All I know is that today I have to buy 200 again. That's all I'm saying.
Ask the guys, a short door.
So we need to have a conversation about some of these prices, though, and if this conversation, I really want to ask Bernard something about this free market business that we run. I really want to ask him some questions. So when Bernard comes on later, I'll ask him about this free market.
Because it really is free.
Yeah, right now it's free for all. It is free for all.
A lot of you allow demand and supply to do their own dance.
I'm just gonna ask.
It's freestyle. Anyway,
on the business of revisiting the work of the constitutional.
They are back.
Front page of the Daily Graphic. Review 1992 Constitution. Curtail excessive powers of presidents. Emil Short at IEA Forum. Like I always say, page 224.
Check, it's there.
Everything they there. Page 224. Of Professor Fiajo's report.
Just check.
Page 224. So I don't know why we have been doing this, but it's on the front page of the graphic. So no problem. We need white canes. Blind union. Very, very important. Something that we ignore a lot in this country. Prosecute illegal minors, religious leaders. Godfred Akoto is on the front page today. He's smiling because QNet dissolved. AG to go after other firms. I'll give you details.
Okay. On the Ghanaian Times front page, now this has been trending all over social media. Shatawale lands in trouble. This is the big headline on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And you know why? He's made some comments on social media regarding the murder of Fenwick Otri. Now, we remember that's Kwauke's late manager. He was murdered in cold blood in his house. Till today, nobody really knows what happened. But Shatta was tweeting all kinds of things yesterday, throwing all kinds of innuendo. The Ghana Police Service has gotten involved. Let's see what happens with this. Minority calls on government to intervene in fuel price hikes. We're ready to commence work on $993 million Palu multi-purpose dam project. This coming from the Upper East Regional Minister. And commercial drivers and passengers tango over new transport fares. We'll be talking about all of that on the show today. And that's the Ghanaian Times front page.
Let me take you to the front page of the Anchor. Every baby thief busted at Kintampo 3 months after restless manhunt. And there's a photo of the suspect on the front page of the paper. And then we are behind Ghana Gas CEO. That's also running. That's a group there.
The Chronicle front page. Ghana Health Service recalls mad doctor, mad in quotes, but refuses to pay him compensation after 6 years of mental torture. Government has made enough money from petroleum proceeds. This is John Jinapos speaking. Agape Love launched to help the needy and elderly in society. Police chase 2 fetish priests over ritual murders at Old Ningo. Gun smugglers attempt to bribe police with 15,000 Ghana cedis. And Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent.
Oh, amen. Front page of the Daily Ghanaian Guide, GNPC on the brink of bankruptcy. Kwabena Donko is telling us there's the 1D, 1F, curbing inflationary pressures, creating jobs. I think that's a feature piece. Stories on pages 3, 5, and 6. We'll delve into that later.
Okay. The New Crusading Guide. NPA suspends subsidy on residual fuel. Akufo-Addo commends religious leaders over Galamsey fight. Upper East records 65% increase in food production. Nungwa youth fight chief. And other stories in the New Crusading Guide this morning.
Okay. The Daybreak has one big story. Educhum hit list pops up. Apparently, has a hit list. It says Opokwa Mankwa out. Get fund administrator next. Hey. They have put some names here. If your name is, apparently you are on the education minister. Apparently you are on the education minister's hit list.
Hey, Ghana.
Anyway, alrighty. The Business Finder front page. Assess climate risks on banking sector. World Bank alerts BOG. And Valco workers reject 22% salary increment. They're demanding 55%.
Wow.
And subsidies on RFO were creating shortage. This is coming from the National Petroleum Authority.
Finally, from me, Nathan, the business analyst front page says Guta warns of shortage of goods ahead of Christmas. And World Bank warns Ghana of rising temperature effect on crops.
I see. If you go online, citinewsroom.com says CCTV roundtable discussion on Galamsey and its threat to Ghana's water security comes off today. The communications minister is here. She's hinting at measures to deal with persons deliberately refusing to re-register SIM cards. I see. Other stories, Adjoa Safo back in Ghana. Okay, Adjoa Safo back in Ghana. And other stories also on citinewsroom.com. The president's daughter is in the news, and she's denying receiving $25 million to paint Accra. The story's headline says Jankroma Akufo-Addo denies receiving $25 million to paint Accra. And Shatawale under investigation over Fennec Otri post. Godfred, you said something about GNPC. Well, Parliament State Enterprises Committee is in GNPC on the brink of bankruptcy. If you go to citybusinessnews.com, they have other stories. Akufo-Addo are showing off no haircuts. Private industries calling for an introduction of an import license. On myjoyonline.com, Institute for Energy Security says government's quest to obtain cheap fuel is far from possible. Far from possible, it says. I was not paid $25 million to paint Accra, Akufo-Addo's daughter. COP disguises as Malam to arrest suspected baby thief. Right? And Shatawale threatens to reveal Bulldog's secret with Fennec Otri's murder. And Dalex Finance CEO says, I can see poverty coming. And he goes on his knees, just like he did on CCTV, to beg Akufo-Addo to improve situations. If you go to starfm.com, benchmark values not meant to replace transactional values, GRA clarifies. Security officer killed at mining site, that's in the eastern region. And court sets November 9 to begin trial of Aisha Huang. And if you go international, the BBC says Biden wants U.S. election denial is path to chaos. So North Korea, fires suspected long-range missile. And Bolsonaro tells protesting truckers to clear roads. And if you go to Ethiopia, truce agreed to halt Ethiopia's civil war. So those are some stories on the international front. Where do you want to begin?
Well, I want to begin with the pain we're all feeling because the Ghanaian Times has a few things to deal with. Fuel price hikes, etc. So their editorial this morning actually says step in to save passengers and consumers. Now you can read about that. They're talking about the fresh increments in fuel prices, transport fares being affected, transport unions, etc. Now the minority in the Ghanaian Times as well is calling on government to intervene in fuel price hikes. So they've called on government to take steps to stop the incessant price hike in petroleum products before the situation gets out of hand. According to the caucus, the government was making supernormal profit from the sale of petroleum products from the country's crude oil sales and should use those proceeds to cushion the Ghanaian. We therefore call on President Akufo-Addo and the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, and they should do something about this price increment. They should sit up and think outside the box and apply this huge supernormal profit to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. We hold the view that government can do something about the fuel price increment. They must sit up, cushion the Ghanaian from this price volatility. The people of Ghana are suffering and something must be done. The minority spokesperson on energy, John Jinapor, was the one who spoke to the press in Parliament in Accra yesterday. Now, fuel prices have jumped from about 18 cedis to 23 cedis for diesel and from about 15 cedis to 19 cedis for petrol for the latest pricing window, which took effect from Tuesday. And in the same newspaper, commercial drivers and passengers tango over new transport fares. So, we heard a lot about this yesterday from our listeners. Commercial drivers began charging new fares following the increments in price of petroleum products at the pumps on Monday by the oil marketing companies. The increment of the fares by the commercial drivers were less than 72 hours after a 19% fare increase went into effect on Saturday, following an agreement reached with the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council and the government. Again, they go on to reiterate the new pricing for fuel, and yesterday's sudden increment in fares was met with mixed reactions from drivers and their mates on one side and passengers on the other. Now, this resulted in heated exchanges between the two parties. It also resulted in hurling of insults and name-calling on almost all commercial vehicles on which passengers were asked to pay the new fares. During a visit to the Odona taxi rank at Kwame Nkrumah Interchange in Accra, the Ghanaian Times found out that the passengers were being charged 30 Ghana cedis from Circle to Tema, which used to be 25 cedis 3 days prior. Circle to Tema Harbour is now 35 cedis instead of 30. The fare from Circle to Ashaiman is now 30 cedis instead of 25 cedis. Passengers on the most popularly used minibuses, otherwise known as Trotro, from the town council line to Circle, were parting with 4 cedis instead of 3 cedis 60 pesos in less than 24 hours. And it goes on to give you more on that. Yeah.
Well, if you go to myjoyonline.com, the Institute of Energy Security, headed by Nana Moesi the 7th, has questioned the prudence in the government's efforts to obtain inexpensive fuel. Remember, the president mentioned that during his address. Now, according to Nana Moesi, if this arrangement is successful, coupled with a stable currency, it will halt the rise in fuel prices and provide relief to Ghanaians. Now, meanwhile, information available to join us indicates that a government delegation is in Abu Dhabi negotiating a deal to bring petroleum products onto the Ghanaian market. So that is what Nana Moesi is saying. However, COPEC is also warning of fuel shortages before the end of the year or before Christmas. Okay.
Hey.
Now, Duncan Amwa.
Duncan.
Let me finish. He's not the one producing the fuel.
Yes, but whenever he comes to make these predictions,
he has warned that should the prevailing conditions in the petroleum sector fester, so that's a condition, there will be a shortage of petroleum products in the country ahead of the Christmas festivities. And he says, quote, if you look at the economic activities that occasioned the last quarter of the year, we are not looking at the city doing any better. Importations are going to double because of the festivities, and the currency may still take a battering. And once that happens, you are expecting prices to go up further. Again, OPEC has given an indication that it is working to cut down on production, and that can only mean one thing: global prices will go up. That is why I have said that if we do not change course, if we do not see a certain urgent action, we are simply going to have fuel prices going up.
Let's talk about the currency a bit and shortage of goods. Guta is warning that there could be some shortage of goods. If you go to the business analyst on page 3, President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obing's photo is there, but he's not the one speaking. This time it is his public relations officer, Joseph Paddy, who has told the media that people are not that things are not improving because of the rising cost of duty and freight charges at the ports. According to him, quote, containers that are coming out of the port are nothing to write home about. People are not importing. People are keeping their money, because if you import, you can't sell and break even or even maximize. So what are we going to see in the shortest possible time? We are going to see a shortage of goods. They prefer to keep their monies in treasury bills rather than import and lose. Now, if you go to page 37 of the Daily Graphic, it says that fight against illegal dollar sales yielding results. This is according to the Bank of Ghana. So some good news there. The Bank of Ghana says efforts to sanitize the trading of foreign exchange yielding the needed results. It said while data showed that more people were now resorting to the licensed forex bureaus for their forex needs, the level of speculation on the cedi had reduced, leading to some respite for the local currency. Data showed that the cedi improved from a peak of more than 15 Ghana cedis to a dollar in the week beginning October 19 to about 13 cedis 5 pesos to a dollar in the first week of November. So according to the BOG, they won't stop. They're going to continue to do this.
We're talking about illegal things. CCTV today will hold a roundtable discussion on illegal mining. Okay. Now the discussion will touch on the potential effects of Galamsey on water bodies, as well as measures to restore these water bodies. Now the City Galamsey dialogue, dubbed Galamsey and Ghana's Water Security, aims at bringing together important stakeholders in the water sector to deliberate on the state of Ghana's water resources and examine the effects of illegal mining on Ghana's water security. So you have all kinds of experts there. Dr. Clifford Brymer, who's the boss at Ghana Water Company. Moses Pencil, he's the Eastern Regional Water Quality Assurance Manager of Ghana Water Company. Professor Chris Gordon, who's an environmental toxicologist. Dr. Bob Alpha, Director of Planning at the Water Resources Commission. And Dr. Adjoa Urenchifianko, a senior lecturer at GIMPA. Okay.
Staying with illegal mining, on page 40 of the Daily Graphic, there's an interesting opinion on the illegal mining menace, and it's by Felix Kokumausi, who's asking criminal investigation or forensic criminal investigation. Basically, what he's asking is, what is the classification in the law for illegal mining? He says the classification of the crime is important. In his estimate, he says if we classify illegal mining as a serious organized crime, then we can strategize and plan appropriate responses to deal with it effectively and efficiently.
Okay. Now, speaking of crime, let me go back to the Ghanaian Times center spread. Shatawale lands in trouble over comments on social media. So the Ghana Police Service has invited Mr. Charles Niama Mensah Jr., known in the entertainment industry as Shatawale, to assist in investigations following comments he made on social media about the death of artist manager Mr. Fenwick Ottery. Now, the musician had alleged in a Facebook post that his former manager, Mr. Lawrence Nana Isiama Hansen, known in the entertainment industry as Bull God, had a hand in Mr. Ottery's death. In a statement issued and signed by the Chief Superintendent of Police, Director, Public Affairs, Mrs. Grace Ansah-Akrofi, yesterday in Accra, the police said the recently established cold case unit of the GPS had been working for months on all unresolved cases, which include that of the late Fenwick Ottery. The GPS assured the public of its relentless effort to ensure that all unresolved cases, including that of Fenwick, were worked on in order to bring closure to the affected families. Now, remember that Fenwick was the manager of Mr. Emmanuel Kofi Botre, known as Quao Kese. He was murdered at his Manic Gardens residence on the Spintex Road in Accra on March 13th, 2014. I can't believe this was in 2014.
8 years.
Wow. It was by unknown assailants. As up till now, we don't know what happened. He was 31. Now, following his death, Mr. Hansen was picked up by the Police Criminal Investigations Department at Kokomemle as a suspect because he had a regular conflict with Mr. Ottery and supposedly had threatened him in an interview. Now, he was arraigned, but he was later acquitted and discharged. But with these new, should we call them alleged revelations by Shatta, this thing has kind of come to the forefront again. So I'm sure people will be watching closely to see what happens.
Well, let me tell you about the hit list that is on page 3 of the Daybreak newspaper at the Ghana and the Ministry of Education. According to the story, there's an easy calm at the Ministry of Education as what appears to be an elaborate plan to chase out appointees with connections to the previous minister, according to the story. So, according to the report, Professor Kwesi Opoku-Amankwah is gone. Also gone now is the National Coordinator for Free Senior High School, the Deputy National Coordinator for Free Senior High School, and there's now the creation of a second Deputy National Coordinator position for Free Senior High School, which is now occupied by Miss Vera Ando. The Gallop coordinator has also been removed. There's also an attempt to remove Michael Nsoa as GES Council Chair. There's a lot happening there. Now they're saying that the credible information, his next capture is Get Fund, where the appointee will also go. Yeah. So and then they go on to put out their list, the so-called hit list. Yeah. So Dr. KB Tando, Dr. Fred Chea Samoa, Mr. Hayford Sian, Yeah, they say you're on the list.
You are on the list.
Now, so this has actually been on social media, I think, for a few days, but it's in the Business Finder. We haven't really spoken much about it. Now, remember when Ghanaian artist Ayat, right?
Yeah.
His music was apparently or allegedly used for a tourism promotion video. There was a lot of uproar about it because he didn't give permission for that to happen. Well, he and the Ghana Tourism Authority have reached an amicable settlement. So the Ghana Tourism Authority says an amicable agreement has been reached with Mr. Ayat Makwam, the music artist who accused the authority of using his visual outtakes without his consent. It will be recalled that on October 27, 2022, Mr. Makwam, also known as Kirani Ayat, accused the GTA after becoming aware that excerpts of visuals from his Gouda video had been used by the authority. The GTA responded, explaining that the visuals had been used extensively since 2019 for the production of various content promoting tourism to the country. A joint statement by the GTA and Kirani Ayat on Monday, the 31st of October, announced that the parties had reached an amicable agreement. Both parties remain silent on the terms of the agreement as it remains private. But moving forward, Ayat and the GTA will collaborate on a number of projects aimed at showcasing Ghana and the beautiful landscapes and exciting talents to the world. So, they've resolved
let me give you this really sad story of the baby thief busted at Kintampo. It's a combination of just brilliant police work by a police inspector called Alhassan Seidu, who is stationed at the Comet police station. 3 months of pursuing this alleged baby thief. So Zinabu Janet is the suspect. She was picked up at Babatokuma, a village near Kintampo in the Bono East, after bolting with her landlady's baby girl. Now, a police officer, like I said, Inspector Alassan, who was stationed there, and whose wife is a choba operator that the suspect was working for, decided to voluntarily support police headquarters investigation by deploying his investigative skills. He went undercover in the area and then was able to find her. Now, when she was arrested, she denied stealing the baby, but the situation is this. So she was pregnant, but she had a miscarriage before leaving for Accra. So upon her return to the village, she told her husband and her in-law that she had given birth and the baby was called Sakira. So she stole the baby to replace some of these precious talents.
All right, just a few quick ones there. The president's daughter is in the news.
What's up?
Well, Jankroma Akufo-Addo, daughter of the president, has strongly denied reports that she was given $25 million to beautify parts of the city.
Okay.
Now, some allegations on social media indicated that she received $25 million to paint part of the capital. But in a statement responding to the allegations, she said the allegations were a fabrication.
So what happened?
She stated that projects were privately conceived and funded, contrary to claims on social. So that's what is happening.
Creative Agency is a state institution.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay.
Anyway.
Easy ways to find out what happened. Yeah.
Anyway.
Charlie, 1D1F curbing inflationary pressures, creating jobs.
It's
That's
on the
front page of the Daily Guardian Guide. I just checked it. It's written by my former class president. Nana Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah will talk, eh?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Godfred. Thank you, Kokui. That was the newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Up next, we asked some Ghanaians what they would do if they were blessed with 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Hey! 100,000 Ghana cedis by this time.
Masa, I'll buy a new car with sunroof.
Visit ghana.accessbankplc.com to get started. Visit any of the 53 branches across Ghana or call toll free 0800 004400 today. Access Bank, more than banking. MTN is also bringing us the City Business News, and they're asking if you know what you should look forward to the weekends. Well, they've got the chance for you to talk non-stop. Just dial star 550 hash, and with as low as 52 pesos, enjoy endless conversations with non-stop talking and texting on all networks. T's and C's apply. Goyle is also bringing us the City Business News. Goyle, good energy, Goyle. Yeah, DM. And Enterprise Life. Enterprise Life is your advantage. Michael Obodu is here. He's got the latest from the world of business.
Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goyle Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, modern banking, empowered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. Coming up, economists projects a sustained appreciation of the city over the next couple of weeks. Also, National Petroleum Authority dismisses calls for a dissolution of the entity over hikes in fuel prices. My name is Michael Obodu, and to our first story, and economist and currency analyst Courage Boti has revealed that the recent regained strength in the value of the Ghana cedi against the dollar is expected to be sustained in the next couple of weeks. Despite the improved performance, he notes that it is difficult to predict the outlook of the local currency by the end of the year due to the current economic situation. The cedi is currently selling for 13 cedis to a dollar on the interbank foreign exchange market. Courage Boti has been speaking to City Business News on some measures governments can adopt to sustain the trend.
It is still a very fluid and indeterminate situation, really. A lot is happening. IMF negotiations will play a big role. Yes, the cocoa loans are coming in, but I think I told you a few weeks ago that really, even if you release that whole 1.13 billion on the market, it could be consumed in 3 weeks, and then we'll be testing for more, really. So it's not the solution. It's about how we now assure the market at least of some sense of stability in the near term while we roll out reforms, really. As things stand, there is still no clarity. People are still speculating about potential debt restructuring. It will determine whether there will still be sell-offs and the pressure on the market, really. And so I think a lot depends on the info from the Ministry of Finance, from the presidency, and from negotiations with IMF in this few weeks and days ahead, really, to determine what the sentiment of the market will be. Until then, it will be a wild guess to be putting a figure on where we are ending the year.
Courage Boti is an economist and currency analyst. Now, on the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 13 cedis. The British pound also remained unchanged and is selling at 14 cedis 92 pesos. The euro remained unchanged and is selling at 12 cedis 85 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus within the capital, the dollar is selling at 13 cedis 50 pesos. The British pound is selling at 15 cedis and the euro is selling at 13 cedis 20 pesos. Now, away from that, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has discredited calls for the scrapping of the government agency over the rampant increase in fuel prices in the country. A former chief executive officer of the Volta River Authority, Dr. Chazweku Brobe, had called for the dissolution of the NPA if it can't regulate fuel price hikes to protect consumers. This comes at a time where fuel is at an all-time high in the country, with petrol selling at about 18 Ghana cedis per litre and diesel retailing at over 23 Ghana cedis a litre. Speaking to City Business News, however, communications manager at NPA, Mohammed Abdul Kudu, stressed that the mandate of the authority is to regulate the activities of players in the space and not to determine prices at the pumps.
It appears that people are equally still living in the past of what they knew MPA to be prior to 2015, because the determination of pricing has actually been taken away from MPA after the act was amended in 2015. And so we virtually, literally can be called a police. And that still clothes us with a responsibility on regulation. Regulation is not just about determination of the pricing, but the regulation also involves in how the prices are arrived at. And that is what critical role that we play at the National Petroleum Authority. And the department responsible is the economic regulation. So we regulate how.
That was Communications Manager at MPA, Mohammed Abdul Kudus. Now, the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana has expressed readiness to comply with the new directive by the Food and Drugs Authority on importation of glycerine and polypropylene glycol. The authority announced that it will begin sampling and testing all batches of imported glycerine and polypropylene glycol for DEG and EG at the ports at the cost of the importers. This follows recent reports of the death of over 60 people in the Gambia and 99 children dying in Indonesia from acute kidney injury suspected to have been caused by diethylene glycol and ethylene glycol, impurities found in pharmaceutical syrup formulations. Reacting to the new directive from the FDA, the Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet, said they will fully comply with the new directive.
If you have 60 people and even one person dying as a result of the product, I don't think you, the importer, will be happy. It's important that we will have to comply. We should comply. We cannot say we are in a hard time and we bring any other thing get through into the market, and that will end up killing our citizenry. I'm saying that the importer plan is the one who's coming to buy your product. It's better the person is alive and buy a product than if the person is dead who will buy your product. I don't think any importer would say or any manufacturer would say, if you refuse to say you won't comply, differently the FDA has the right by law to detain your goods under detention, which they have said it. So this is not the first time for importers to say we will not because we are in a hard time. I urge importers to know that as far as you are bringing a food commodity or you are bringing a pharmaceutical product by the Public Health Act, that mandate the Ghana Food and Drugs Authority to check on all safety of whatever that goes into human beings' body. It's been recommended by the Ghana Food and Drugs Authority. So we have to comply and we have to support the FDA to help and protect the lives of Ghanaians.
Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet. Now, the National Coordination Office of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfTA, is urging key stakeholders in the trade sector to rally for a change in policies that would promote and favor women in the trading space. Dr. Farid Kwesi believes that policies that bridge inequalities in the trade environment will significantly impact the Ghanaian economy. Speaking at the second CATS GIZ public-private dialogue on making the AfTA work for women traders and women-led SMEs in Ghana, Dr. Farid Kwesi said the efforts of women in trade cannot be underestimated.
Available data indicates that 90% of the world's businesses and more than half of global employment are concentrated in micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And although women constitute over half of our populations, the number of women-led businesses is estimated to be far below this. Increasing the participation of women in the labor market could increase the country's productivity, leading to greater economic diversification, innovation, and poverty reduction. Trade has an important role to play in driving this economic growth by supporting women's empowerment and by advancing gender equality. New trends in global trade, especially the rise in services, global value chains, and the digital economy are opening up economic opportunities for women. But for women to reap these rewards, our countries, and particularly Ghana, needs to adopt reforms and trade in policy and reforms in trade policies that reduce discrimination against women, whilst building the significant human capital that women represent.
That was the National Coordinator at the AfTA Coordination Office, Dr. Farid Kwesi. Let's now join Gideon Amoniche of DataBank for the latest updates on the bonds market.
The DataBank bond index closed Monday's trading session flat with a corresponding year-to-date return of negative 21.57%. Total deals executed across the markets were worth 612 million Ghana cedis. Trading activity were centered around the 2022 to 2025 maturities, which accounted for 81% of the total trading volume for the day at an average indicative yield of 33.50%. On the money market, an offer of 1.32 billion Ghana cedis will be opened by the Ghanaian Treasury on Friday, 4th November, across the 91-day and the 182-day tenors. Proceeds will be used to refinance upcoming maturities worth 1.06 billion Ghana cedis.
That was Gideon Amweniche of Data Bank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil Enterprise Life, your advantage, Access Bank, Modern Banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Michael Lobodu. Thank you for listening. Have a good business day. And as always, please stay safe.
A rising TV, a rising increment in my salary.
To update your records with your Ghana card to enable us serve you faster and better. You can also send a WhatsApp message to 0574065958 or 0302208333. The share let's improve lives. Daniel Cranting is here. He's got the latest from the world of sport. It's time for kickoff.
morning. It's time for kickoff here on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Daniel Cranting. In the headlines, the Ghana Football Association announced implementation of minimum wage for professional footballers in the country. We'll give you the latest in the final round of group games from the UEFA Champions League. And South Korea's Son Heung-min is a doubt for the World Cup after Tottenham confirmed he would need surgery for an eye socket fracture. We start off with some local football news, and the Ghana Football Association has announced the implementation of a minimum wage and standard player contracts for professional footballers in the local league. These policies are expected to start in the 2023-24 season. Here's GFA President Keto Kreku speaking about the discussions with the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana regarding the smooth implementation of the policies.
I remember my visit to the PFAG offices. We discussed the establishment of the standard player contract. We would cross the T's very soon, and hopefully in the new season, we would introduce standard player contracts that would ultimately protect every signatory to those contracts. I'm talking about the players. Beyond the introduction of the standard player contract, we have also been discussing the introduction of minimum wages or minimum salaries for players, especially professional players in this country. And God willing, next season, we should introduce minimum player salaries in this country for professional players.
That was GFA President Keto Kreku speaking there. Moving on, Ghanaians have expressed mixed reaction regarding the decision by the Black Stars head coach Otto Addo to withhold his 55-man provisional squad from the public. Ghana is among a host of participation nations who have decided against putting out their provisional list. City Sports hit the streets to sample opinions of some Ghanaians on the matter, and this is what they had to say.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and do whatever he feels. So at the end of the day, when you give us the most important thing is the results. So when he's able to do something better, and that is all.
Last time coach, to me, no good for me. This Black Star coach, maybe to me, let me as someone join, follow the team to go to Qatar. To me, as someone is an experienced player.
He is the coach. He knows what he's doing. We may have our reservations about what he's done, but the blame and whatever, the praise all goes to him. So if that is what he has done, I think it's not bad. We are waiting for the list. I mean, well, shitty, but if you don't like anybody, there's nothing you can do.
Said I'm not comfortable with the coach decision. Why we Ghanaians don't know our players we are going, he presented them to FIFA. He's supposed to present the names to us, so that we know who is going to represent us before he can even represent the names to the FIFA. Either we are comfortable with the players or not.
We are not well pleased with what they are discussing because we are all Ghanaians. If anything is going on, the Black Star is for us all. It's not a one-man family issue.
So that was a section of Ghanaians sharing their opinions on the issue. Moving on, the Ghana Football Association has confirmed Goel as the official football partner for the Black Stars for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The two-year deal is worth $200,000 of fuel with no cash components. The GFA will be entitled to a maximum of $100,000 worth of fuel every year during the partnership. Moving on, the GFA have chosen to remain tight-lipped regarding the Black Stars budget for the World Cup. According to the Sports Minister, Mustafa Yusuf, the budget will be reviewed after the tournament in Qatar. Speaking at the sidelines of the new goal sponsorship, GFA Vice President Mark Addo failed to give details of the budget submitted by his outfit to the Sports Ministry.
But me, how would I know? No. I at the top of my head, I cannot say because whatever budget we submitted long time ago, the ministry also have to add certain contingencies and other aspects of it which we don't control. So I cannot, for the life of me, even begin to guess. But I believe whatever the minister, and I've heard a couple of sound bites, is talking about, we plan to go as far as the final. So hopefully he puts all that in.
How much did the GFA submit?
On top of my head, I don't know. I don't know, top of my head. It's a long time ago, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. If I tell you that I know at the top of my head now, I'll be lying to you.
That was GFA Vice President Mark Addo speaking there. Moving on, Let's now get into our World Cup Facts series today in Qatar. Ivan Sofochu-Mensah speaks about Argentina's captain Lionel Messi.
Welcome to today in Qatar. At 18 years, Lionel Messi scored his first World Cup goal against Serbia at the 2006 World Cup and became Argentina's youngest goal scorer at the tournament. The PSG attacker has scored 6 goals in total at the World Cup after subsequent strikes against Nigeria, Iran and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Qatar 2022 will be the 5th World Cup for the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner who has played at 4 consecutive World Cups from 2006 to 2018. The 2010 tournament was a frustrating campaign for the Argentine who failed to score in South Africa. They had a better campaign 4 years later in 2014, scoring 4 times in 7 games. Lionel Messi won the Golden Ball in Brazil, but Argentina lost to Germany in the final. The ex-Barcelona winger scored once in his last World Cup in 2018 as his country was eliminated in the quarterfinals.
You heard Ivan Sofochu-Mensah with today's episode of Today in Qatar. The final round of group games concluded last night in the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid, they were 5-1 winners over Celtic to top their group. Shakhtar were beaten by 4-0 against RB Leipzig. AC Milan beat RB Salzburg by 4-0. Olivier Giroud grabbing a brace in that particular game. Maccabi Haifa were beaten by 6-1 against Benfica. Benfica topped their group as a result of that. Copenhagen and Dortmund played out a 1-1 draw. Manchester City were 3-1 winners over Sevilla, with 17-year-old Rico Lewis scoring on his Champions League debut. He also picked up the Man of the Match award. Man City manager Pep Guardiola was full of praise for his youngster.
He's so smart. He made the standing ovation for all the, all the way long. Yeah, he played really good. The first half more inside, the second wider, and passes from Julian was amazing, and the finishing as well. So 70 years old, but he's so clever, so intelligent. Typical guy that you say something, he understands everything. He doesn't need to practice more because he knows exactly what happened during the game. Yeah, really, happy for him, from Josh, for the Minions, from Sergio, for all the players. The first half was a little bit. We were there, but we struggled to attack, especially because we played, I think, right foot in the left and left foot in the right, and you go inside, and with 5 in the back is more difficult. In the second half, with Sergio with left and Rico on right, and more people, call and feel a second half were more close to Julian.
That was Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola speaking there. Elsewhere, Juventus were beaten by 2-1 at home against PSG. Chelsea came from behind to beat Dinamo Zagreb by 2-1. They had some injury concerns at the end of the game, with Chilwell limping off at the end of that particular game. Chelsea manager Graham Potter says the injury does not look good.
Yeah, not great. Obviously, when he pulls up like that, it's a concern. So we need to scan it, but it's not positive at the moment. Yeah, exactly. It's a blow for us on a otherwise positive evening. I think it's a blow to see him pull up like that. It's not a great sight, so we fingers crossed that when we get it scanned it isn't as bad like you say. It can be not as severe, but we have to fingers crossed at the moment, but clearly we're disappointed.
You heard Chelsea manager Graham Potter speaking there. Moving on, in Tottenham Hotspur forward Son Heung-min needs surgery to stabilize a fracture around his left eye, and his involvement in the World Cup is in doubt. The 30-year-old suffered the injury in Tottenham's 2-1 win in Marseille in the Champions League on Tuesday. Son has scored 35 goals in 104 appearances for his country, who are in Group H in Qatar alongside Ghana, Portugal and Uruguay. South Korea's first game at the World Cup will be against Uruguay on 24th November. That brings an end to Kickoff here on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Daniel Cranting. For more sports news, visit citysportsonline.com. Kickoff was brought to you by the Shehu.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start small. No matter where you are now, the most important decision you will make today is knowing where you'll be tomorrow. All you have to do is take the next step, believe in your journey, and go.
This one is from Mr. Sheriff Apia, Communications Manager at the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation. To his wife, Mrs. Rahel Apia, who works at the Dan Quao Institute. And he says, may God bless you. May God continue to put smiles on your face and unite us forever. You've been that perfect wife, and I couldn't have wished for any other. So that's coming from Mr. Sheriff Apia to his wife, Mrs. Rahel Apia. This one says, happy 40th birthday to Pamela Naakushika Brown of PURC Greater Accra Regional Office. And the message is, we hope this decade brings you love, happiness, and all the good stuff life has to offer. That's coming from the Research and Corporate Affairs team of PURC. This was a kindly wish my sister of Prudential Life Insurance, Dan Quao branch, Kesha Ferguson. That's from senior brother and partner in crime, the person they add their name. This one says, kindly wish Valike Bewonyo a stupendous birthday. From Lovelace Bernie and Ellie Nam Bewonyo. This one says, help me wish my son Jehoshaphat Kofi Eshan Otri a happy 5th birthday from your father Amos Otri, your mother Rosemary Otri, and your sisters Marcia, Ethel, and Mekadesh, and your big brother Kelvin. This one says, happy birthday to Dr. Charles Kwating Asafweje. And the message is, you are a solid rock to us, your children. And the message is coming from Nanama Iraba Jr., Ejewa, and Mame.
Happy birthday, Nana Kufia Bakamwa, aka Shatta of St. Bernadette Superior School, Dansoma. And I wish you success in all your endeavors, and may the good Lord guide you from your uncles, Ajingo, that's Paul Ajimai, and Ni Lai. Also, some good wishes coming from Michael Katahina. He got some outstanding customer service. He's very happy about it. So he says, I want to give a shout out to a worker at Stanbic Bank East Legon branch. I was totally blown away by her excellent customer service. She was very pleasant, courteous, and extremely helpful as she helped me and my son through a transaction. So Leticia Arthur from the Lagos Road Stanbic Bank branch, Michael Katahena, says you deserve a medal. Okay. And so keep up the good customer service.
This one says, happy blessed birthday to Lord Koramoa, or is it Koramoa, head of marketing at SNIT UCC Brethren Group, wishes you a wonderful and exciting birthday. Happy birthday to my mom, Baida Moluko Sapo. She's 68. That's coming from Josh in Teshi. Don't forget that later this morning at 10:30 we have the Citi TV roundtable discussion on Galamsey and its threat to water security in Ghana between 10:30 and 12:30, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It will be hosted by Vivian Kailoko, and it's live on Citi TV and Citi FM. But it's been a week of people reacting to the fuel price increase. Let's not forget, on Sunday, the president had his address. He spoke about a number of things. Some people say the takeaway was Sikampedede. Whatever it is, there's a lot of talk and chatter and a lot of conversations around the increasing prices of items. Fuel, sachet water, that kind of thing. And transport fares, and lots of people are talking about that. Yesterday, we had a good number of messages, and people were talking about the increases in transport fares. And this morning, a couple of messages have come in. We'll go through that a little later. But you can tell that it's a very, very demanding time. A very, very, very demanding time. And several people are complaining. Everybody. If you go on social, for example, you find people talking about fuel. This morning I was even sharing with you my own fuel experience. And all of that. Kokui, you are yet to buy fuel.
I'm yet to buy,
it's not,
Nathan.
You are not looking forward to it at all.
At all. But it's I have to buy fuel, you know. The kind of movements I do and the number of human beings I carry around and in my house, it's you know, it's one of those things that is difficult. Some people have the alternative, especially, you know, if you're a young single person and you have a car, you can decide maybe to park that, depending on what you do. Maybe if it's just like to work and back, maybe you can decide, okay, I'll park it, I'll take public transport. But even that is going up. But a lot of people don't have that option. You've got to drive.
Somebody sent me a picture on my Twitter page. Very interesting. It says in 2019, it says my first fuel receipt at 4 CD 94 in 2019. Okay, 4 CD 94. Yes, and he spent a total of 70 CDs.
Okay.
70 CDs.
At the time to buy petrol.
Yes, 70 CDs. This is what he spent in 2019. I'm sure then he thought it was absolutely outlandish.
70 CDs per what?
He said he bought a total of, so the invoice says a total of 70 CDs.
To fill his tank.
To fill his tank, I think it is. I'm sure then he must have.
Then he's a rich man. No, 70 CDs.
Back then.
Not 700, 70.
Yes, back then.
Oh, 70 CDs.
70
Which car is that?
I don't know, but it was 4.94 then.
But what's happening with me yesterday, for instance, was I drove around a bit checking the fuel station prices, then made a decision on which one was the cheapest. So I ended up at there's a filling station right in the corner here, another Braka, you know. And then I went there and I bought my 200 Aloski. Aloski said, Charlie, I bought my 200. I bought my 200. Because if I try to buy more, Charlie, I can't.
But you will end up and will have to buy more.
Yes,
He doesn't have to.
I bought my 200.
He can take public transport.
Can you?
I can't.
He can't.
There's nothing preventing him from taking.
He can't. Bernard, can you take public transport?
Why not?
The nature of
go through your schedule, like
my schedule for the day.
Yes,
Is it possible?
I'm asking Aloski to do the same.
So the people
the schedule
people who are taking public transport and they human beings.
No, I'm saying that everybody has their movement, what they the kind of commitments they have as far as where you go each day, whether it's just to work from home and back, whether you're somebody who has to travel around doing business, whether you're someone who has children who you have to pick up and drop off from school as well as part of your routes, whether or not you know that it's. So I'm asking you, so are you the kind of person who can say, you know what, I can park my car, take public transport and accomplish everything I do in a day?
No. Okay. I think
you see now.
Thank you. That's it.
But you know what's interesting is that these things are all related, because you know when we discuss public transport, sometimes some people feel it's like a boring topic. Like when we talk about Ayalolo and we keep insisting that spending money to just import buses without a transportation system is criminal. People feel, oh, you're making too much noise, you don't really know what you're talking about. So we import buses, but you know, importing buses is not putting up a system. Importing buses is procurement, because a system is how things are connected. You know, there are routes that must be preserved. The buses must function. There must be a payment system. You know, the buses must be of different grades. We don't have a public transportation system. 30 years of a democracy. It's a shame. All the public means of transport are privately owned. The public ones are not working.
Yeah, we've run them aground.
The MMT, even GAPTI. It's almost like we deliberately sabotage. For me, I think that we have to become radical. For me, one of the things we need to ask for in the next election is that no public official should be giving free fuel. Nobody should be giving free fuel. Everybody, see, if you can buy fuel from your salary, why can't the Minister of Finance do the same? Do you understand? Why we all have salary, and their salaries are public. Their salaries are more than yours. If you can buy petrol from your salary, why should somebody get free fuel? Why should somebody be given a fuel coupon to drive a V8 because your salary is lower than theirs? They don't pay rent. Do they?
I don't.
You, when it comes to rent, you are scratching your head. No, let's be honest here. You get me? Because if citizens are I mean, look at the movement of fuel prices from the 70s. I mean, there's an artwork that one of our team members did, and we are looking at just diesel.
Oh yeah.
From June.
The evolution of diesel prices.
Okay, let's look at petrol. What they call super.
Yes.
Premium motor spirit.
Yes. So from June, so for example, in June, the first, so let's say about 10 cedis, 10.99. That was the maximum.
Yeah.
Or say 11 cedis. In July, we went to 11 cedis 30. In August, 11 cedi 15.
Yeah, even look at the second pricing
I'm
window.
even looking at the second pricing window.
So if you do the first pricing window.
The first pricing window, we did 10 cedi 10.
For
right?
June, yeah.
For June.
Per what?
Per
liter.
Per liter.
10 cedis.
10 cedis, 10 pesos.
10 pesos per liter.
Per liter. In July, we went to 11 cedis, 59 pesos.
So essentially 12 cedis.
Good. In August, we went 10.95.
Came back to 11.
In September, we did 11.55.
Okay.
October, we did 11.10.
Where are we in November?
We are in 17.99.
That's 18.
That's 18 cedis.
So if you move from 10 to 18 in 6 months.
6 months.
10 to 18 is about 80% increase. You know, nobody in this country's salary has increased by even 50%. Fuel has the greatest pass-through of all. Okay, so and I agree with Dr. Charles Rekurobi on Eyewitness News 2 days ago that if the MPA cannot regulate fuel prices, it has no business just telling us that this is the reason why the price has gone up. Even Dr. Tiwe Champon can tell us that. So if the MPA's function is simply say, oh, this window, and now what they've done is that because they announced that thing, then Dankanama will come and say, yeah, in the second pricing window. No, guys, you see, this is very serious. Politicians use petrol gallons to campaign to win elections.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Then when they are in power, they decide that deregulation is something we've all agreed, and it means that we can't do anything about fuel prices. That's not true. Our peculiar challenge, Kokui, is that the inflation has many causes. Our inflation, some of it is imported because our economy is
heavily
import dependent.
Yeah.
But that's not the only reason. Listen to the lady that Eno Safo spoke to in the market. You know, a few months ago we did a show and we were asking why things are expensive in Ghana relative to other countries, and we gave about 5 factors. I remember they even voted. We said there was I don't know. I think there was something to do with import dependence, fuel prices, and there was something called the Ghanaian pricing culture and exchange rate. I don't think it's even the pricing culture anymore. It doesn't make sense. Why should decision makers not? Because you see, in advanced countries, look, I was in Denmark. I was supposed to interview a minister in I think it was 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the people in his office came on bicycles to work. You can see the weather is cool. They were wearing their suit and rode a bicycle to work. I was in Switzerland. Most of the people I met used the tram. In fact, very few people would drive their own cars to work in some of those countries.
Because it's even expensive.
In Ghana, we have not fought for public things to be done for us. Look at the trotros human beings sitting. That's why I was asking why you can't take trotro to work. Okay? Now, we say this and people think, why should somebody who's driving a V8 get free fuel? And I, who comes to clean his office, who lives at Kasua, there's no public way of bringing me to work. Why can't I sit on a train from Kasua to work? Why should I sit in a Trotsky and come and clean the office of somebody who, and he's working for me, is my servant? How will he make a decision to favor me? So I'm saying that we have to remove the pegs we attach. Because for me, the people, okay, why did MPs now say they will remove the finance minister? Why are MPs saying that they will remove the finance minister?
Because
didn't they know from 2 years ago that the borrowing was too much? You understand? So until the people feel it, they don't do what you want. They don't know, they don't understand what you mean by. I mean, how do you pay 18 cedis?
Hey, think about it. 18
how?
cedis. And
how do you pay that?
Just to put
and
things,
people are speaking English. MPA is telling us pricing window something. What are you talking about?
The other day,
Stop. How are you giving people fuel? And they say they've cut down VAT. Why on earth should somebody who is paid almost 6 times what an average worker is paid get free fuel on top? Are we correct? And we are all singing and shouting about it. So all those groups that met the president the previous week, did they talk about these things? That you have to stop. Honestly, how do you give? Why should somebody get a fuel voucher? How do you subsidize the rich so that the poor will... Look, transportation fares have gone up. The poor use public... You haven't invested in public transport. You haven't reduced fuel prices. And you are giving fuel coupons to people who are driving V8s. Are you correct? Seriously, no, let's be honest. And we are all sitting down and saying what? And we have allowed it. This system... If the government is serious about austerity must begin with cutting all these trappings. If you are going to rent a house, you don't rent a house because luckily...
So continue.
My brother. Somebody comes into office, he's given a free house, he's given a cook, he's given free car, he's given free transportation. How will he think about you in his decision making? Even Christ, they said because he wore flesh, he felt what we felt. That's how he was able to help us. If you don't feel what we feel, can you help us? When we talk about dollarization of rent, who owns the properties that is selling in dollars? Nathan, if we, you see, for me, if we don't, there are, you see, Ghana's problems, I know some of them are deep, some of them are complicated, but there are some that are very simple. You are spending too much on government that is ineffective. And because of that, they are insensitive to the people's plight.
They don't see it that way.
Oh, please.
Do they?
Well, it's because we don't tell them enough.
No, but Bernard, indeed, we don't.
Why, Godfred? Why, we don't. You see, they don't listen to you. They listen to they listen to things. Look at the people who have been assembled to go and meet the president ahead of the announcement last week. Banking managers, AGI, Guta, pastors. Did they call journalists?
No.
Did they call teachers?
I don't know.
Do they call trotro drivers? Maybe they call GPRT.
They call GPRT. But that was to discuss price.
My point is that we haven't learned to speak to power. We don't understand servant leadership. Right? So every time we go, and I'm not saying go and be rude. I'm saying that use facts to prove that the thing is not working. Okay? We haven't, when they come to your house that you should vote for them, why do you vote for them? Why do you cheer them? Maybe because they are from your hometown or they speak the same language. Maybe that's what empowers them to do. In which society will you have a system that subsidizes government officials? Now every director somewhere has a V8.
There are a lot of them.
A director of entities that don't even do anything. I mean,
that's what
take the Ghana register. Take the Ghana register and look at the number of government entities there are. There are some you haven't even heard of. National Archives and Monuments. You'll be shocked that the CEO there, he also gets free fuel.
Just that.
Oh, there are so many.
Let me annoy you more.
If you go through,
I've met a couple of state officials who have security escorts, and I ask myself,
who is trying to be?
Who's coming to get you with the position that you hold? Like you said, you might meet the hypothetically.
Yeah.
You'll be sure that you will meet the museum's director, but he has a policeman holding his file.
Meanwhile,
for what?
Meanwhile, there are large swathes of this country which are under police.
Which don't have policemen.
People have been given police officers to stand by them
and hold their handbags.
So when they are coming for interview, the policeman is looking. Meanwhile, you go to just drive out of Accra. So I am saying that for me, the citizens have also allowed this to continue. Because honestly speaking, you cannot subsidize. Okay, if you are in an austerity program, where is 30% salary? What do you mean 30% salary? Godfred, if I used to pay you 4,000, even 5,000 cedis, if I used to pay 5,000 cedis in 2020 post-COVID, that 5,000 cedis is worth like it's worth like 800 cedis.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the truth is that if we actually discount our earnings on the basis of inflation, you get me? Totally. So the 12 measures that were announced, I don't even see. This is not an austerity plan. And you see, I made this point. We have three things. We have borrowed too much. If your revenue doesn't meet your expenditure, there are two things you do. This one is very simple. Though. You earn 1,000 cedis and you spend 1,500 on your living expenses. There are two things you can do. You can either let Godfred give you 500 cedis, so you get the 500, but that's borrowing. But the international market say you are not credible, so we'll give you 500. So that 1,000 cedis that you earn, you have to raise it to 1,500. You can't steal because you'll be arrested. So what do? You lower the 1,500. You say that 1,500, no, we won't buy this thing. Coconut, we won't buy coconut oil, it's too expensive. We'll buy a different kind of oil. We'll reduce our expenditure to 900 cities, so I have 1,000 cities to 100 cities to save. This is the same as a country. You have your expenditures are high, your revenue are low, and you can't tax us anymore. Because after the tax they won't pay. you can't, so in the 1,000 city example, the government introduced e-levy, people revolted, but they are still paying VAT and all these things. The thing that happened in Kumasi. So in the Ghana example, government is very constrained in raising revenue. Government cannot borrow externally. The logical thing to do is to cut down on expenditure. That's what an austerity program means. Now, an austerity program will not work if the people taking the decision don't bear the brunt of the cut. Do you get me? Yeah. So this is why Sinak, or what's his name, the UK guy, that's why he's prime minister. He proposed an austerity program. Liz Truss said, no, we are going to do tax cuts because we are going to spend our way out of a recession. It doesn't work. Okay, so the market said Sinak's policy makes sense. More sense. So they cut. So BBC, they are cutting. All the major agencies in the UK are cutting. And I'm saying this is mathematics. So you see, you can argue over whether Nathan is funny or not, but when it comes to maths, you don't argue. You see,
because
in Ghana,
the numbers never lie.
So in Ghana, this is not an argument. This is your revenue. This is your expenditure. This is your borrowing. This one we don't even need to argue. Put the numbers down and let's all agree where the cut will come from. We are dilly-dallying. Then we are saying traders stop overpricing. People don't sabotage. All these are peripheral issues. The main issue is that the government has not introduced an austerity program.
No support.
And it's because the excess fat of our spending is not even for the poor. Which is why every time people say free SHS, sometimes I say, look, for me, when you spend money for poor people, I don't have a problem. Because our expenditure is top heavy. Do you get me? So we say we are banning travels. We don't know if it's been implemented. There's so many things we said.
30% we don't know.
In many countries, when there's austerity, what they do is that they reduce the cost of public transport. Mm-hmm. And they say, for petrol prices to be up, but we'll subsidize those who take trotro. So
it's happening in places like Germany.
So if you say you will drive your car to work, it's your own problem. Otherwise, join Trotsky. But here the Trotsky said, you can't get to
Ayalolo is hiding in the corner. They can't move it.
So for me, I feel that the government, for it to be credible before the international community, before the IMF, and before citizens, must come up with a proper austerity plan. Beginning with the size of the government, the expenditure and the things that it subsidizes for people, all these appointees.
It does not look like that is an option they have considered.
They will be forced to. Because you see,
I doubt.
There's nothing you can do. Godfred, I've done the numbers. There's nothing.
I'm not arguing.
Nobody's going to give us any money anywhere. IMF money will not come if you have a debt, a sustainable debt position. So the debt issue there, nobody's going to give any money at any reasonable price. If you say where are you going to raise tax from? Which aspect of your life is not taxed now?
All of it.
Everyone.
When they went to put the GRA poll in Kumasi, they didn't even agree because they are saying that you are making it seem as if we the informal people are not paying tax, but we earn very little, and you don't do a lot for us. You get me? In societies where taxes are high, the public services are very, very clearly delivered.
You benefit.
Canada. Scandinavia.
Scandinavian countries.
You get me? In those places,
pay for anything.
In those places, I took somebody hired a taxi for me to visit him in Denmark. He said, Bernard, collect the receipt when you go to Ghana. I'll come to Ghana in 2 months. I need that receipt from the taxi driver because do you understand? So I'm just saying that we have not invested in the public goods. Places that we are supposed to tax property, you own tax. 6 years.
Because they own the property.
And that's the point. So I'm saying that the NAT will force us to do an austerity program. You will do it kicking and screaming, but there's nothing else you can do. Now I heard something. They said they are going to do. They are going to restrict the number of dollars you spend to import something. Godfred, it's not going to work until the government leads by example. Listen to the trader Eno spoke to. She was giving the breakdown how they calculate their pricing. They understand VAT. They understand transportation and pass through. They didn't go to Harvard, but they understand that their incomes are being eroded. So for me, I think the government has to be clear on an austerity plan, starting with itself. A lot of these appointees who we don't hear of until they come on air. The last time we checked, it was about 6,000. If you go to SIGA, let SIGA do their report. You have the SIGA report. Majority of them are not doing. They are not earning any money.
But we are
all kinds of people you didn't know existed. All kinds of companies you didn't know existed.
You have been reading a cigar report. So that's why you have a PhD in cigar.
But the truth is, Bernard, all these things that you are saying, so we should have heard last week
when the president gave the address.
So it comes back to the whole week of meetings which you've raised. What did they tell him? What did he hear? What numbers do they look at? Prior to that meeting being held, the president has toured virtually every region in this country. What did he see? What did he hear when he went on those things?
Who told him what?
Who told him what? Because when you put all those things together, we should not have heard what we heard on Sunday in the form that we heard it. But we are calm about it. Okay? And we are suffering. And things are going on. It does not look like the voices of the people or the situation. And I've told you this before. There's a bubble around that building at what's the name of the place that Flagstaff House is? The realities of the country do not exist in that space.
Maybe what we can do is that we can run some numbers to show. I'm saying that I'm making a prediction. I'm making a prediction that there will be an austerity program. Because when you
the IMF will insist on it.
There's nothing else.
Yeah,
but see, Godfred, that for me, I don't understand the politics of governance that well. But when it comes to numbers and budgets, I am saying that where Ghana has gotten to, it goes without saying. The only thing is, where will we cut? For example, are we going to meet people like Senchi? Are we going to do a Senchi type thing, call everybody and say, what do you call it, teachers, doctors? There's already a lot of agitation. When extraordinary times calls for extraordinary measures, are we going to call everybody and say, we all know that Ghana is broke, even though we've agreed that we're going to pay everybody this increase, starting from me, I'm going to remove this, that. So what can you also do? I think that's the way to go. So, okay, I have decided that we are going to cut our ministers by X%. We are going to do this, that. This is what I put on the table. Labor unions, this is everybody cutting. Yeah, when they do that, then we all sign. Okay, we all sign. Then you can't go and say you are going to strike next week. But if they don't do that, you saw Jampo's letter 2 days ago. That's what I'm saying. If the government doesn't treat this like an extraordinary time of people, because everybody is asking for their pound of flesh. Now, UTAG is saying that government has unilaterally refused.
So Charlie, they mean that
because the government has still not seen that business as usual is not going to work. They've not understood that where we are, we have to call everybody to the table. Either they've understood that, or for whether it's pride, I don't know, they don't want to do it, or maybe somebody suggested they don't want to do it. I'm saying that I don't see how we are going to extricate ourselves from this if there isn't some conversation that says, this is what I have put on the table from my side. Please help me. It must be an appeal. This is not a time to go and lecture people. If we don't do it, we will be forced to do it kicking and screaming. You mark my words.
It's a minute after 8. Time for tech and social media trends. That's brought to us by
our friends at Vodafone. Now, for many of us, social connections get us through the day, which is why Vodafone's refreshed Red offers now give you so much value. Get your favorite Red offers on *200# and enjoy longer conversations with friends and family. Dial *200# today. Vodafone, further together. It's also brought to you by Cal Bank, and you can shop online or in-store using our range of debit and prepaid cards, Visa, MasterCard, and GH Link. To learn more, call 0800 500 500. Cal Bank, forward together.
Tell Danike to look forward and speak into the microphone.
Anyway, it's time for tech and social media trends. Daniel Cranting is back.
Hi guys.
Do the update. Do the update.
What's going on here?
Hi Daniel. How are you? We missed you.
Okay, please protect me.
What's happening?
Protect you from what?
Godfred.
My life is in danger.
Your life is in danger from what?
I will knock him when he returns.
Okay, you can knock him outside.
Right now, we need tech and social media trends from him, so please don't knock him just yet.
Oh, thank you, Kokui, for saving my life.
Hey,
things are happening in this country.
They are?
Shatawali.
Shatawale, he's something.
Yeah, we've been seeing the tweets.
Yes.
The messages, let me see, the social media posts.
Beef be with Bulldog. Then we're sitting there. Shatawale has come to put on Facebook that Bulldog should tell us the truth behind the death of Pauke's former manager. Yeah. And that he would tell everybody what he told him and how he planned it with boys and things. Now the police have entered.
Come and tell us.
They say, Shatta, come here, quick. Come and tell us what you know. Shatta could be in trouble, because one, if it is true, it could be that he sat on it. Yeah. If it is not true,
he's put out false information.
False information. Again, strike 2. Shatta, adding. Oh. It's the when they if they do for sure, when they do it, no, quick, go and snitch. Baby Jet is also in the trends. He was sitting in his house peacefully. Then FIFA came to set up camera lights. He said, Baby Jet 2010 penalty. Why did they let this man breathe? Oh. Let the guy. Oh.
No, where there's Baby Jet, there's news.
Sure. He's not the only person. I don't know why. He's not the only person to have missed a penalty. But I guess the weight of the
weight
moment,
of it. Yeah.
He said he doesn't know how the ball hit the bar. He said he doesn't know how it went up. Charlie.
It happens. Let's just
these things there.
Rehashing the pain.
I shock. Say it still haunts him. Baby, don't worry, you are still the goat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we were growing up, my grandpa can tell you, Tony Boa, come and tell you, mention some names be that you don't know. So this boy, I say, Grandpa, relax. Did they go to World Cup? They didn't go to World Cup. Baby went to 3 World Cups. The whole Africa, Baby is the leading goal scorer at the World Cup. Africa. Baby is the goat. Oh, take your players and look at champion. This is World Cup. Top guy, Baby Jet.
Danny K.
Oh, but it's true.
Danny K.
Nathan.
Yep.
Do you know Casaprego?
Yes, Casaprego.
Yeah.
I know Casaprego.
Say they are doing double.
Yeah, double.
Do you understand double?
No, what does that mean?
The thing that Agrada was supposed to do and she couldn't do for her people. Casaprego is doing for their people.
Oh, okay.
If you take 3K, come and take 6K. If you take 5K, come and take 10K. We are doubling the salary.
So that's what
times are hard.
Okay.
Oh, Casaprego.
Them. They make a lot of money. People drink their
The
beverages.
God who touched the heart of the Casaprego CEO touched the hearts of all CEOs across this country.
Amen.
Let the companies make money so that they can double it for us, so that we can survive the hard times. Because now when you are driving, when you look up and you see 17.99, hey, Nathan, I'm sorry. A few months ago, I came to complain about ACDs.
You didn't know.
You didn't know where we are going.
Then you take ACDs.
I'll take the AC. If it's even 10, I'll take the 10. 17.99, we can't take it anymore. It's too hard. Hey.
Oh, man.
I can't do this again.
It's okay. It's okay.
On top of that too, and I must say that if I want to keep my this thing,
you have to pay $8.
I have to pay $8 a month. Oh, what is all this? Charlie,
it's okay.
When it was my turn to be an adult, now everything is bazaar. Mommy, take me back. I don't want to grow.
That was Tech and Social Media.
Christy, how long have we been doing these businesses?
Oh, just about.
Christy, stop. How long are we going to stay calling ourselves small businesses?
Oh, but small.
Christy.
maybe the dollar was at 10. And then by the time the thing came, the dollar was at 11. I said, okay, but you paid for it in 10. He said, no. By the time I'm paying, even if I placed the order and it was in 10, when I'm paying it's 12. So even though I bought it theoretically at 10, because I'm paying after some sales,
it's gone up.
And I said, so how do you know whether to get 13 or 14? So we have to do some small margin. So you, maybe she explained.
Yeah. So let's listen to traders at the Agbogbloshie market who say that they've debunked all the theories that profiteering is also part of these recent price hikes.
The Agbogbloshie market is touted as one of the biggest in Accra. It is also known for the affordability of the goods that it provides. Basically, anything and everything that you want, consumable goods that you want to buy, you can find right here at the Agbogbloshie market. The question is, are these consumables just as affordable as people think they are? We're going to go inside, speak to some retailers and wholesalers, and find out from them whether indeed the prices are still affordable. We're currently at one of the shops in Agbogbloshie. They sell rice, they sell seasoning cubes, they sell oil. They sell a whole lot of other things that people consume on a daily basis. Now, one of the things that most people have been complaining about in recent times has been the price of oil and rice. We're going to walk inside and speak to the woman whose shop this is so that she can explain to us how they price their goods. We see a lot of the things that you sell here. How is the market now in terms of pricing?
Everything is up. Everything is up. Everybody is increasing its goods. And they are determining the prices by the benchmark, the dollar, the VAT, and increase in petrol. That is the basis of the price increment. And the prices are going on each day. We don't even know what to do. People come here and they come by, then they go. So the market is very slow because still there is increment in prices.
Most people have been complaining about the prices of rice and oil. How much is a bag of rice?
A bag of rice, when you are talking about the non-perfume, that is, we categorize it as wache. It goes from 500 upwards. And at the other ones, the perfume like this starts from 40 kilos, 700 and above. It goes to 1,000, depending on the type of value and quality you want.
And then the oil, how much is a big gallon?
The big gallon, as we are talking today, from Wilma, Ghana, the producers of fried oil, their price is still 1,000 from the company. Today is 1st November 2022. If I'm wrong, they should go to Wilma, Ghana and confirm their prices. But there are other oils that are coming in. It starts now from 700 upwards. That is the 25 liters oil.
You mentioned the benchmark policy, Forex, VAT, as well as petrol accounting. Is that what accounts for the price increment?
Yes, please.
So that means the price increment is not specifically from your end?
No, please. It's from the manufacturers of the goods. When they import, the benchmark determines the duty they are going to pay. And the dollar determines the exchange rate for them to buy the goods outside. And the petroleum determines how the goods reaches to their warehouse before they supply. And the VAT determines how much they are going to sell. So that is all the basis for the price increment. So if the government wants to do something about it, he should start from the factories. Should go them, ask them the basis of their calculation of the increment in prices. Then he will sit down with them and see if they are overpricing. From there, they descend down to us. Because we are wholesalers and retailers at the same time, serving the final consumers. Imagine an instance, you go and buy a sardine. Today, they are quoting the cheapest sardine in the system for 340 cedi from the company per one box. That is China sardine because the sardines are also in specification. The qualities differ
in the price.
So the cheapest is 340. Imagine when you buy it at 340. It's inside 7 cedi something. 6 cedi, 90 pesos or something. You are coming here and you sell one for 7 cedi, so that it will be 350 cedi. Out of the 350, you buy carrier bags to serve the customers. Out of that 10 cedi, you pay your workers. Out of that 10 cedi, you pay light bill and other utility bills. So how much are you going to gain at the end of the day? So we are not those who are overpricing the things. The benchmark, we are losing. Because at the end of the day, when we sell, our money keep on depreciating. You buy today for 200, you go next time, you buy 200, you sell 210 or 205. Next time you are going to buy again, it's 250. So you make 10 cedi profit and you have to add 40 Ghana to the money to go and buy. Where from the 40 Ghana? So if you don't have any strong backbone, then your business will collapse. You go bankrupt and you close and go home. We are really suffering. The government should do something about it.
One of the things they sell at the cold store is cow legs. Now, women go to the cold store, buy their cow legs, and come and sell. We have one of the traders here who says she's also feeling the brunt of the fluctuation in prices. So we're going to be speaking to her to find out exactly what is going on. Ma, welcome to the City Newsroom. Now, Nancy, prices na ekwaseng. Yeto niemu ekwaseng.
Oh, prices na die ekọ high pa. Me nada o se kotodwe ne boa ye din na yenya bi nso nton. Nti ama se ye hu ne ebe ye hu kra.
Se mo fa ne sen e wo cold store.
Oh, se ya de price no. Akogina 450 Ghana cedis. Ena ne ne boa from kra se no e ye 400 Ghana cedis.
First no na saying.
First no na ka ne boa from we no kra na ye mfa nye hwe. Eno no na 260 cedis. And I said 250. Mama could jump 400 Ghana cedis.
What kotodwe bi wo abrai bia wugina ho a omato ebonim ehwa a.
We no dey see me kra me see we last week kra me hu bi.
Then is
bi nni ho nti ba bi omo ye ti say bi aba no. Ye kwa ye doso. Almost say price ni ye 380. Before that ne kra na almost say 360 but ade che na almost say 380. Nti ye nyina ye gina ho a ye to no. Almost tori edu me so no. Almost say price na sisa. 400 cedis. Almost ko baby ama e ho ne ho no because of say any pen nyina etwi ba ho nti no 400 cedis. Ti eba ne sa wo na wo ton no. Wo so ba wo be ma na ko high. E na watimi anya bi.
Na wo ma na ko high na wo de sen na e to so.
And they say ne wo be fa na adaka no ne ye wo mu no. E no na be kire ne wo be ton. We no short nti e wo mu 10. Ebi wo mu 11, ebi wo mu 12. It's 400 cedis. Nje se ni rua ne nsem kra na e wo mu 40 cedis. Akubia e na mu we o. Me ye hu adwuma. Si mi wi a ni che se e wo se mi ti mi ton e bro 40 cedis. E so first no nka na mu we no. Ya to betimi ato am obi kra na ye 20 cedis. Ana 25 cedis. But se si ano, I just me ton 50 cedis. And now 45 cedis.
And stand na wetimi enya. Na o ton no 50 cedis and na say you know o come back 50 cedis na wa ton no obetimi assign e de asan ko top adaka ni bi.
Oh, 50 cedis na me ton no ne de. Se me ti ba se si almost gas boy e de nti omo ye hu adwuma man no omo so si gas no I increase nti omo so atum.
Into omo je sense so omo ye
adaka ba ko hu adwuma omo je 15 cedis. And so danka omo je 10 cedis. And so omo je 15 cedis. Ni obetwa ama wo no ono so atum. First no ni obetwa no onu twa na ko je 8 cedis. So omo so say 10 cedis. Obeso rubber nyina ya tum.
Rubber first medium black no nanka ya je 3 cedis na keto no. By say rubber bag no black one medium no 5 cedis. It's in bag 3 cedis na 5 cedis na matore ton na 400 cedis ya. Say na wose me ton. Wose me so metimi tum. Say nya me so manya bi. Say me so me pia bon te say me go di dwa. Manya skada den, e di dwa ne bi. Wose ne bibia bo aye den. Eti me de no ne bo aye den. Wose me so timi tum ma ne bo aye den. Say na me so pia bon ten ya. O me nua so atum ma ne bo aye den ya. Manya skada tobi. Ama no so ne bo aye den.
Mama cho we bro no fa free hin.
Pa cho me ko fa free adura. Amo say afa ne say
Ya to petrol na kosro. Ka first nka be si ha nka 4.5. Enso se si ya no e be si ha 5.5. Ene ehun lorry fare ni bibia akosi 6 million. Nti se si ya ton enya hwe.
6 million and now so de what on the same amount.
Nti se si ya me ton 6.5.
Ama 6.5 no 5 no and no so do 5 na dey ato so no and no so do.
Me nkwala na wa ha no kwa ye 15. A omo boa me. Enti no se man fa nto so a me ntumi nya bi ntua wo mo ka. Enu nti na me de 6.5.
Na enti one na de 6.5 one more maka no so de 6.5 and na obi ba no went me anto no ko baby for fra say ebe ha o kakra o.
Patwa ya ha me because price ni nyina ye ba ako. Ene nyina ye ton. O se si ano dokono fo no so enkwala ne se dokono no enso omudi omuto dokono 5 cedis a omo menti so nso amfa nto so a nso unya bi ntua omuka enu nti na ene bo na akosoro sa.
All right, so that was Eno Safo speaking to some market women at that Bublushi market. Very, very revealing stuff, Kokui. Very, very revealing.
Very revealing, but also excellently articulated. I think the lady that Eno spoke to deserves plaudits for being able to simplify the language, which I think a lot of technical experts have trouble doing. They kind of get caught up in lofty language, and the lingo can go above people's heads. But when you break it down as simply as this lady did, she just laid it very bare. It's a very simple situation from whoever brings the goods in, what they have to pay at the port to bring them in, or whoever the manufacturer is and what their cost is for manufacturing. Then she went step by step to what happens when the goods finally get to her. And then she also has to make something on it, but they're not charging exorbitantly. I think that's the point she was trying to make, is that a lot of the time traders like her are blamed for the rising prices that we are paying. And from what she just explained, it doesn't seem as though the traders...
It's in their hands.
It's in their hands, one, and two, that they are excessively profiteering from the situation. I think she made that quite clear. Some may argue, but she's put down her argument. Someone can oppose it. That's on that side of trading. Now, there are retailers outside of that space as well, the market trader who, should we say, more brick and mortar retail outlets that also have the way they price their goods. Maybe one could say their overhead charges are higher. So, they've got an air-conditioned building they have to pay for. They've got employees, more employees that they have to pay salary for. It could be a rented space. More investment in that kind of infrastructure possibly adds to their charges. So you've got the trader on one hand who has broken down what her expenses are, and then what she puts on top. Then you've got other retailers who will say, yeah, but in addition to that, we also have XYZ that factors into our pricing. So which is why our goods maybe cost a bit more. Now, do you begrudge that entrepreneur from also making a bit more off of that investment, because they're not in business for charity? They also want to make something of it. So, I mean, there are arguments for and against the pricing that we're facing. But yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
I was just going to say that. But if you drill down to the heart of it, everybody kind of if you go down to the base, you strip away everything. It's just they've mentioned depreciation, right?
Yes.
So there's that.
The
Forex, essentially forex issues, maybe port charges.
Port charges, yes.
So to start with basically those two things.
Transporting the goods.
So those two or three things start this reaction, and then all other things will come in. So depending on what you do as you are in the chain, if you have a rented shop, you add that cost, and it goes down. I see.
It's serious, Nathan. And for me, this is also revealing in the sense that, Kokui and Nathan, when there's inflation, we try to trace the source of the inflation to prescribe the right solution. So thankfully, the Statistical Service now, when they do the inflation, they tell you which component of our inflation is imported and which component is local. That's a very important distinction. Now, I think since April or May, imported inflation has risen faster than local inflation. So that's the first issue. So it tells you that a lot of the drivers of inflation are externally generated,
okay.
which is not too difficult to understand because most of the things we buy
are imported anyway.
Good. Then the currencies struggles, like the depreciation of the exchange rate has made things worse. The only point I want to say is that if you listen to the woman very carefully, it makes you question some of our policy responses. Because again, there's demand pull inflation and then cost push inflation. I think, I haven't done the numbers, but I think a larger part of our inflation is cost push, right? So if you go and use interest rate policies to try and control inflation, you're actually not doing anything. Let me explain. Like, you don't have money. You ask, you don't have money. Now, the general definition of inflation is that too much money chasing too little goods. But is the pressure on the too much money side or on the too little goods side? In our situation, people don't have too much money.
No.
They don't have that much money. In fact, people don't get money.
Oh, yeah.
Yet prices of things are going up. So if your main inflation thrust is interest rate policy tries to mop up excess liquidity. So when you raise interest rates, people who have excess money send it to the bank. But people are going to the bank and saying, give me my money. Yeah. Why are people going to companies and saying, we want to redeem our money? So raising interest rates becomes counterproductive. Do you get my point? So that's why the World Bank document I read a couple of days ago said central banks and ministries of finance must coordinate their fiscal is Kenoforiata, and monetary policy,
which is the
Addison, in a way that tackles the root cause of their inflation. Now, this woman is telling you that my inflation is cost push. All right? And I'm not saying the central bank has a limited kettle of things they can do, kitty that they can use. But for me, that's why I go back to the original point. The Ministry of Finance has to do two things. You have a budget. There's a revenue and expenditure side. Back to the 1,000 cedi example. Sika no your share. So it's another sika keftai. The people you are taxing, they say we can't pay. We don't have money. So the logical thing to do is to cut down your expenditure. Now, if your expenditure was spent on pro-poor things like LEAP, or you were giving subsidies to people who can't get food to eat, then we'll say that one day let's get donor support to fund it. But if you look at your expenditure breakdown, corruption. Okay, your government, your ministers are too many. You have too many appointees who are not doing anything. He's opening a list of government. There are too plenty. In fact, there are some work. Look, there are some jobs that can be done by an ad hoc committee. Let them go and farm. The fact that you want power doesn't mean you give everybody work. You get me? If somebody help you win election and he's happy you've won, so you should go and do a rice farm at Tesuchari. He doesn't have to be given deputy director of National Archives, so that you have to give him a house accountant, you have to buy him petrol, give him a few of. Do you understand? And I'm saying that because now everybody is wise. UTAG is wise. Everybody's so. If the government says I'm not going to pay you your entitlement until they go, let's assume they go to Ho for a meeting or Senchi, UTAG will say, okay, 125 ministers, cut it to 70. Salary of government officials, reduce it to 20%. Sack a lot of your non-performing appointees. In fact, Muhammad said, merge some of all these coda things, merge them into the ministries, local government. Let the rest of the people go and look for work to do. Then you can prove to the labor unions that I have reduced the size of my side by 80%. What will you put on the table? But if you don't do that, you think Jampo and his people will agree that they'll go on strike. And what you're going to have is you're going to have a lower production. So you are in a country that needs to produce more. The labor union is agitating because their salaries are too small. So in a time that you need productivity to go up, you have. So for me, I don't want to use the word intransigence, but I feel the government is wasting time in not calling for a national conversation about where we are. And this is not a conversation about president telling us. It's not when we are hot. We meet and talk and say, this is what I'm doing. What can you do? It's not like, Charlie, this is what we are going to do, so the rest of you must follow. And I'm saying that if the government does not start dealing with this expenditure issue and redirect expenditure to more productive sector of the economy may grind to a halt. I'm telling you.
Let's get into your money. Which is our
These
money.
days, when you mention the segment, no, Charlie.
Brought to us by CBG. CBG is saying we stand with you. Anyway, Kokui,
No,
what's,
let me not say it. Let me not say it. The slogan needs to rest. I was going to say this week, but no, the slogan needs to rest. We actually do need to make noise about the money situation because it's affecting everyone and everything, and it's so untenable. That's the issue. How far can you actually go? How far can employers keep employees who can't afford to get to work? Do you understand? Or how much demand can you place on an employer to increase your salary at a time like this when very little is coming in for a lot of businesses? So it's very difficult to have, advice in this segment these days, because really, if you tell people, oh, save 20% of your salary, say 20% of what salary?
But I can
tell
give-
people
I
invest.
can
Bernard, give us a tip.
So there's
Give
a,
us a
you know, okay, I'll go to something that you have sinking fund.
Baby, take away.
No. You know, I've had to think about mortgages and things recently because if you started paying a mortgage of say $200 and the time you started paying it was two cedis to the dollar and it's now 14. One of the things you could have done to help yourself was to set up a sinking fund. A sinking fund is that, you see, when you have money that comes in, you put it in a certain fund that earns interest and you don't touch it. Then after a period, you build enough. So if you had build your fund to say the equivalent of say $10,000, then you can use it to clear your mortgage. Now, the nations do sinking funds, but individuals who can do sinking funds. So you can even say, for every 1,000 cedis I earn, we are going to put 300 in this fund, which bears interest. We are not going to touch it for 6 years. And after 6 years, with the right investment advice, it may grow substantial enough for you to use to clear your mortgage.
Yes.
Okay. So two things. Read up about sinking funds, not the Setekbe type alone.
But you know why I'm smiling
for
at you?
companies and for individuals, you can have a sinking fund that can help you build up money to pay off your principal on the debt that you have accumulated.
The reason I'm smiling is because that sinking fund is what people are trying to access now. Now
they can't.
Haircuts, whether it's back bush haircut, punk haircut. Do you understand? That's what people have done, and now they're almost being penalized for being prudent. You know, it's such a difficult situation because the advice you gave is so brilliant, and we've told people to do that over the years, and they've done it. And now they're being told, oh, by the way, that money you put aside for the future, for a rainy day, I'm sorry, you can't get interest, or you can't, or you may not get the value, the full value of it anymore. Charlie,
Anyway, let's.
But you know what, Bernard? I like your vim. Where there's vim, there's hope. And where there's hope, there should be vim.
Oh my Lord, oh my God.
Your money. Oshika.
Yeah.
Your money.
Brought to you by CBG.
We stand with you.
Yeah.
We are standing. Barely.
Bank that supports you.
Qatar 2022 is almost here. Calling all football lovers, let us cheer our gallant Black Stars to victory at this year's World Cup. Kempon Travel and Tours, the official travel organizer, has partnered with Consolidated Bank Ghana to offer attractive packages to you to enjoy the upcoming soccer event. Feely. From visas, travel fares, feeding, accommodation, sightseeing to match tickets, and many more. We have you covered. You want to see all your favorite football stars in person? This is your chance. Don't miss out. Visit any of CBG's 114 branches with your valid passport and choose from the platinum, gold, silver, and bronze packages. Or call 03022 16000 for enquiries, or visit CBG.
996. So we're asking government, if we are going through these times, we need you to take proper concrete measures. Very clearly, our budget is absolutely out of kilter. Really, you can tell that, Charlie. We are all over the place. We don't know what exactly is going on. We are spending more than we are earning. We have to make a few cuts. Let me just run by you what the president said he was going to do. Right, the 12
details
things,
of his cuts.
Yes, the 12 things stated, or the 12 measures he outlined, just to put things into context. So this is not in any particular order. Now it says restore macroeconomic stability through an IMF supported program. Okay, tackle cost of living by working to stabilize prices of petroleum products through new supply arrangements. If you remember the story I read this morning, one portal was reporting that a government delegation was in Abu Dhabi working on that. 3, encourage traders to tone down.
And I think the MP also announced something yesterday, but I don't know whether that's enough. Anyway, right.
So 3, encourage traders to tone down profiteering, which is contributing to inflationary pressures. Okay?
Really?
Yeah. 4, restore debt sustainability by reducing debt to GDP ratio to 55% by 2028.
Can you repeat that?
Okay. Restore debt sustainability, okay, by reducing debt to GDP ratio to 55% by 2028. So we have 6 years, barely 6 years to do it.
2028. Where will he be? Where will we be?
I don't know.
That's how many years from now?
6 years. 6 years from now.
Next so one, 8 years is 2030.
Hey, this one says SDGs.
This is the deadline.
Improve national resources and liquidity by raising revenues from 13% to 18 to 20% of GDP.
Is it tax efficiency or expanding the tax net?
I don't know. Pursue inclusive growth while protecting the poor. So the government wants to do a double act there. Energy sector reforms to reduce the risk of the sector to the budget. And we know how we got here. You know, power companies have not been paid for it, that kind of thing. We know the problems. Reduce budget rigidities by capping statutory funds. I thought that was something we were doing.
Yeah.
And
I think they removed the caps. Or they rather cap them. I'm not sure.
So
actually, no, let's explain this properly. So a rigidity means that it's not flexible.
Yes.
So if, for example, you say a statutory fund requires this level of money, maybe the law was put there at the time where the priorities were different.
Yes.
So that makes it rigid. So to remove the rigidity, you then make it respond to the present day needs. I don't know whether the capping is what makes it less rigid.
Okay.
We can get into the details later.
Next one, continue with efforts to reduce central government expenditure through budget cuts of 30%.
That's where the details are needed.
So what are we cutting?
Because you see, government expenditure could be teacher salaries. It could be fertilizer subsidies.
They said they have given up their salaries.
That's what I'm saying.
No, they gave up 30%.
No, but what you read said government expenditure.
Yes, government.
The discretionary.
No, read the thing again.
It says continue with efforts to reduce central government expenditure.
Central government expenditure
through budget cuts of 30%.
Of what?
It didn't state.
You see,
30% this is something that has been ongoing.
Yeah, but I'm saying that this is the conversation that is required in greater detail as part of an attempt to introduce an austerity program. So maybe you read the highlights and we can get into the details or you can get someone to explain, because this 30%, you need to know what the population is. So 30% of what?
Okay. Next one, start the process of discouraging importation of rice, poultry, vegetable oil, fruit juices, etc.
This is not good enough. You know why?
You have got 2 more.
Yeah.
Tackle currency speculation to limit volatilities to the cedi. And then ensure no haircuts to treasury bill holders in the debt restructuring strategy.
Go to the point you read about import.
Okay, so it says start the process of discouraging importation of rice, poultry, vegetable oil, fruit juices, etc.
You know,
okay, so
a lot of your points are, or the points are things that will be done. I would have, and I'm sure you said this before in my absence, I would have thought you say, because of the success of our Planting for Food and Jobs program, after December 30, we will, I don't even think you can say ban. You raise tariffs on imported rice by 90% to encourage consumption of the local rice we've produced because of PFG. Something like that. So because this is too vague, if you said, okay, because of PFG, the local rice is now 70% of the rice produced. Technically, we only need to eat 30% imported rice. So as a consequence, we are going to either limit importation of rice between Christmas and Easter, or we are going to raise the tariffs on imported rice. So that's substantive. But this is very open. I can't hold him to this. Tell me, just and which is why, and yesterday I saw the Minister of Agriculture on TV talking about some rice in the Western region. I was hoping they would say, because of what we did after COVID with rice production has increased by 80%, and therefore local rice producers can satisfy 65% of our domestic need, as against 45% when I took office. As a result of this, we will limit rice production by the following policies. Anybody who thinks that they want to eat foreign rice can buy it at the high price. But those of you who just want to eat to survive can buy local rice. Here are the list of approved local rices that we have seen. This is the kind of thing I want to hear. This is very vague. You're going to explain something.
Yeah, the 30%. So when this was done last year, as part of COVID, right? The finance minister explained that they were envisaging to save 3.5 billion Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes. Now, basically, what they were looking at was, it says, the new expenditure cuts included a 10%, an additional 10% cut of discretionary spending, a 50% cut in fuel coupon allocations for all political appointees and heads of government institutions, including SOEs, which was effective from April 1, 2022, as well as a cut of 30% from salaries of ministers and the heads of SOEs from April to December.
How many SOEs?
130 something.
So if you look at the total number of SOEs, they are 147. Okay.
And how many directors per SOE? You see, what I'm saying is that these things should not. You see, don't forget that what we are trying to do is to get everybody to buy into a program.
Yes.
So the more transparent we are, the more easy it is for us to accept that this is the figure.
And there's this question that everybody asked at the time, that it's good to tell us, how do we know it's being done? Which becomes a matter of trust. Okay. Now we have the president telling us they are going to continue with this. I look at the cuts, Bernadette. Honestly, everything.
Did they give the details?
No. But I'm with you on, if we are cutting anywhere, Charlie, that Office of Government Machinery.
Because every year the parliament comes up, they say it keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, the last
and they've brought a lot of. So this is what has happened there. So for example, you had the Ministry of Special Initiatives. In the first term, that ministry had more money than about 60% of other ministries.
Because they were
Meanwhile,
in charge of
but think about it. Ministries have track record of
everything
competence. All right. So a Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade. You give a Minister of Special Initiatives more money than all these ministries with an untested bureaucracy. So that's the first sin, right? And you pass a lot of the so-called government initiatives to that ministry. And that's why you have a huge deficit, because they misspent money, or there was too much money spent during election. Now, you've decided that you say you close the thing down, but you've moved it under the presidency. So a ministry is not just the building. If the people who are there are still working there and now they go to the presidency, you've not done anything.
Which is the point I'm making, that if we are looking at making that cut, the significant one, because the budget is almost 1 billion Ghana cedis. Looking at the last budget, staff strength of 1,597, which was an increase. There's a 5% increase. They were allocated basically 823 million Ghana cedis.
Look at that.
Basically. Now, if you
what's the name of that? What's the name of that?
The Office of Government Machinery.
Do you have the breakdown of what's in that office?
They have. If I look at the last count of it, basically the numbers are now 995. These are the people working under the chief of staff, the Eugene. So basically, what you have there are communication specialists, directors of communications, deputy directors of communications, technical communication assistants, media aides, media liaison officers, communication consultant, presidential advisor on media, who has a technical director to the presidential advisor. Then you have the ministers of state at the presidency.
And these guys are there for information minister.
Yes.
No, go to that list again. Just on the communication side.
There's a lot to communicate.
Stop it.
I'm just telling you.
You have information minister who's cabinet level.
Who has ISD working for him too.
And then you're having all these guys working under the presidency.
Who work under communications directorate. Yeah.
Of the presidency.
Yeah. There's a lot to communicate.
You can't be serious.
I'm just telling you there's a lot to communicate.
And what are the conditions of service of these people?
Nobody knows. That's the issue.
That's why the transparency is not. So if I'm a lecturer in Legon and I've been teaching for 15 years, right? And I struggle to get my PhD. And then you have somebody who is a technical director who has access to fuel. Read the letter they wrote. They said their fuel thing is not gone up. So this technical director, what's the competence, what's the qualification of somebody to do this work? So if we are not transparent, and I'm saying that this is mathematics, this one is not sentiment. If the government wants the pressure from the labor unions to go down, and they want and if they want a credible plan for IMF to, if the plan is not credible, see, if people don't accept the plan, it's not credible. If the labor unions, the businesses don't accept the policy, the IMF will not accept it. So if they will not be transparent with these guys and say, this is what we are doing, I can understand why you have all these guys working and what are they doing? You said they have a lot to communicate. What are they communicating?
I'm just telling you. But if what would be the justification for
look at
directors of communications?
Mention mention the post again. Mention the thing again.
So the directors of communications.
How many? Directors of communication?
Yes, 4.
4 directors of communication. And then deputy director of communication.
There are 5 deputy directors.
At the presidency?
Yes.
And then which one again?
2 communication specialists.
So the director is not a specialist. Okay, the specialist below.
There's a lot to communicate.
2 communication specialists and
3
then
communication officers. 5 technical communication assistants.
So you have 4, 5, 9, 6, 7 plus 3, 10, 15.
Media aid.
How many?
1.
Media aid.
Assistant media liaison
16,
officer.
17.
Communication consultant.
18.
Then there's a presidential advisor on media.
Charlie, are you sure you're not joking? Are you sure? What are you? What?
He's not joking.
What are you saying?
No. Of all the positions,
guys, let's go through this again. Let's go through this thing again. I want to be sure. And sorry if we are picking on. We are picking on an area that we have competence in. If I had gone to pick, if they had said security, I don't know what security is, so I don't understand. But I'm a media man. I've done media for half of my life. 4 directors of communication.
Yes.
5 deputy directors of communication.
Yes.
2 communication specialists.
Yes.
3 communication officers.
Yes.
And then 5 what?
5 technical communications assistants.
Communication assistant. Yes. And then 1 what?
A media aid.
1
media aid.
Yes.
Who is he aiding?
I don't know.
And then 1.
There's an assistant media liaison officer.
And then again 1 what?
There's a communications consultant.
Different from the first specialist.
Yes. And then there's a presidential advisor on media.
That's my favorite one.
And you see, this is not picking on Eugene Ahino. We are basically saying that this doesn't make sense for a country that is looking for 3 billion. Let me tell you how 3 billion sounds in the world. I've seen Germany gave its citizens a $200 billion subsidy to keep gas prices low. Ghana of 30 million people is looking for 3 billion from IMF and can afford up to 20 people in a communication portfolio at the office of the presidency. We haven't added information ministry with deputies and directors. Do you understand? And this is not even a productive sector necessarily. If, for example, you are talking about people who are in agric, if you hire extension officers, I won't argue with you. People who are educating people on how to farm, I don't have a problem with you. Okay, these are service. And there are questions. Do we know how much they are paid? Do we know what their conditions of service are?
No, but we do know that it's all part of the 800 and something million that is there.
Yeah, so the government...
Which is where the weight is. That's why I'm saying that if we are talking about cuts and we are in austerity and you are making... You see, because you have ministers, they have deputies. We've spoken about some of them being redundant because some of the deputies, they are 3 or 4, they barely do anything. We can list them on radio, but it will be like you are...
No, but we are staying with the communication because, so guys, it's a case study. Listeners, don't think we are. It's a case study of, because again, if you take, for example, coastal development, middle belt, and all these things, somebody could argue that they could go under local government.
Government, yes.
And somebody can argue that you can bring all these people, because if you have a minister of local government, that minister has deputies.
Yes.
and local government works with the local government authority. What's this guy's thing? Atuata. What's Atuata's thing? Local government service.
Yes.
So they have professionals who
do these things,
who are well trained. I'm sure if I go to the local government school and I ask them, the work that Middle Belt, local, and all these people do, can't we have people within the local government? I'm sure they can say we can do it.
Yes. If you listen to former President Mahama,
Yeah.
he even mentioned that and said he was even suggesting that what could help in that area was giving these local assemblies or local government things the proper funding. He says, let the common fund be accessible. Stuff the common fund. Let it be good enough so they can do some of these things that we've set up special agencies.
So I'm saying this to just say that it's not as if we are picking on communication. We are
No,
basically saying that there are redundancies. Oh, there's more?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you look at it, because if you look at even the way our ministries work, every minister who takes up a position in the ministry, most of them at least, go with their own PROs.
Yes.
So the PROs are not
you haven't added
employees.
that?
Yeah, that's I'm going there.
They're not
They're not civil servants. So
A lot of them are not.
No. So, for instance, our good friend Kwesi Kwarteng.
Kwesi Kwarteng is the PRO for the Ministry of Education.
He's not a civil servant.
Is he?
No.
As in,
even though
what do you mean? What do you mean? But some of them are brought
some
under.
of them are brought from
Some
the
of them move. They are moved around.
Yes.
But
I know
but
one.
if this minister leaves,
He'll go with him.
he'll go with him.
No, but sorry, let's talk about the role, not the person. Is there a role in the ministry called PRO?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
But if you go and you are looking for the official Ministry of Education PRO, you might find somebody there other than Kwesi.
Well, maybe that brings back the issue of what you said a couple of days ago about the appointment of the new director. So it seems as if a lot of the ministers, for trust's sake, they bring their own people.
Yes.
But what we haven't confirmed is whether those people are brought in and made like special assistants, or whether, because you see, to appoint somebody in a civil service, there is a process you go through.
Yes.
So we have to clarify if those people go through that process,
or they are just brought in as consultants.
and then how are they paid?
Yes, but we have, if you look at the way our governance has worked, we've had a lot of that happening.
Yes.
Basically, every minister comes with his own person.
But I'm saying that clarify whether that person is
We
occupying
can
an official role,
Fred can clarify that.
or whether that person is brought in as. I'm saying this to make a point that you can create a position for somebody because you want to work. Like if I'm a minister and I said I want Nathan to be my press advisor. Right. So that is different. So like an editor on the British government, the guy came in as an advisor to the guy. There's an official PRO, but the guy comes with his own press advisor that he pays from his own pocket, or that he brings into the system and creates a line of payment for him. Okay, but I'm saying that if for a sector that we have competence in, communication, at the seat of government, you have over 20 people, 4 directors, 5 deputies, 2 consultants, 3 officers, 5 technical communications, 1 media advisor, another media liaison, 2 media liaison. It doesn't make sense for a country that is going to beg for 3 billion, whose lecturers are saying that you owe us and you haven't paid us. And I'm saying that if the government does not see that, this is what will make the program they are trying to do with the IMF lose credibility. Then we haven't begun our journey. Because I don't know how you're going to tell workers they're not going to increase their salary in this condition. Meanwhile, if you want to be very clear with the numbers, the government has to cut down on this expenditure. And the only way to convince other workers that they should take a hit is to take your own hit.
But then
and I'm saying abolish.
Should the salaries be reduced?
Godfred, I don't give you fuel coupon.
No.
But you come to work every day. You can't tell me that the people in government from the 100 and how many ministers? You mentioned 100 and something government agencies.
140 something.
Cancel all of it. Everybody included, maybe except for security reasons. You can say the president, the vice, and some people should not buy petrol.
Everybody
for security reasons.
Buy your own petrol.
So you can go to the Minister of National Security and say, give me the top 20 people who for security reasons should not buy petrol. Everybody else from 4-1 to upper 6 buy fuel.
You do not know people who will lobby to get on that list.
Godfred, you see, the work you do, the work my boss does. You can't. I think you work harder than some of those guys. Yet you buy your own petrol. from the little salary you get. That's why sometimes you're writing articles here, you are doing this business, you are trapped. You understand? So why should we pay for fuel for somebody? If you want a credit, because you have raised fuel to 17. If you
1799.
how okay, if I am a teacher at La Basic, La Cable and Wireless, and I live at Kasua, and I am going to pay almost 40% more for my trotro, why should the guy working in the ministry supervising me get free fuel and I don't? It's immoral. And I'm saying that it doesn't make sense. There's no way. We've done it for 100 years. We are in the, you see, what people don't know is that what we are facing, you see, we are in a very cataclysmic economic time. I'm telling you. I don't even know how to put it. You see, because we have text and social media trends and Facebook to joke and things, we think things are okay. If the government doesn't do some, look at, why would Dilex, what's his name?
Ken Thompson go on his knees. Go on his knees and beg.
Ken Thompson wasn't trying to be dramatic. Ken Thompson is saying that if, you see, the type of decisions that need to be taken are going to be very difficult. The body language of the president and the government doesn't seem to suggest that they've accepted that reality.
And you know
what we need now is we need to be I want a word. Yes, you have to it's an almost that's the word.
Okay, like accept it and
it's like Charlie.
Fix it, like,
this is you are trying to get people to understand that things will be tough for them globally. And look, we are going through about 5 crises now,
all at the same time.
You have a financial sector crisis hanging on your head, depending on how you go about your restructuring. You have a food crisis looming. Russia, grain council, Ukraine, commodity price. Yesterday we showed you almost all commodities in the next quarter, prices are going to plummet, are going to go up. So you have a financial crisis. In fact, you have an economic crisis first. An economic crisis, which is where we are, debt crisis, which is leading to a possible financial crisis. Then you have a cost of living crisis because your salary is not enough, you can't rent, you can't buy fuel. Do you understand? So economic is the top, financial number 2, cost of living number 3, food number 4. We also have an environmental crisis, Galamsey. Today we are doing a program. You may not have water to drink by next year. Ghana Water is spending 8 times more the amount they spent 2 years ago to process water. So you may have a water shortage, right? So economic crisis, financial crisis, cost of living crisis, food crisis, and an environmental crisis. All happening at the same time. And in some countries, it's led to political crisis. We have been blessed. The opposition leader says, no military adventurers should take the law into their own hands. We've understood that we change governments by the ballot. So, a lot of West African countries are unstable. In certain countries, the cost of pork is a national security issue. In Ghana, I can argue that rice and maize are national security issues. Okay? So, these are precarious times. So we need more than lip service. We need actual demonstration of commitment to convince people that you can stay us through this period. And I'm not getting that from the little I've heard. As I say, I've been away for a long time. I haven't listened to too many things. You guys have been here for long, so maybe you've heard me. But the little I'm hearing, I am not very hopeful. Honestly, I'm not.
Welcome back.
From the way I have to even run back. I think I'll run back into my hibernation.
Welcome back.
This time that I've come back. Hey, Kokui. So what have you guys been doing? How have you guys been eating?
Chairman,
how have you guys been surviving?
Co-workers, honestly, you know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't here. I was just. I closed out.
I thought you were talking about families. Like,
yes. Yeah. How are you guys surviving?
How?
My house.
Yes. Take you on a date.
But that's what I'm saying.
But your boys eat a lot.
They do, and I know yours do. So you understand. It's just killing us. Because, like you said, every time you go to the shop, every time you go out to buy food,
we're going to buy a chair, and we went to a shop. We went to the shop on a Thursday, and they said the chair cost, let's say 3,000. So we went and gave the lady 3,000 to go and buy the thing on Monday.
Oh,
when we got there, it was
lie.
3,800.
Oh, I lost this matter. I saying last week I was giving a budget for some glazing.
Yeah.
For X amount. But made the budget.
Yes.
Paid up.
Yes.
As soon as the money was sent, I get a voice note telling me, "Whoa, a share. You have to add an extra 4,000." Yes, from the budget of last week.
4,000.
Yeah, an extra 4K to get the work done. An extra 4,000.
When was this? My brother said he wanted
An
to
extra
buy-
4,000. Just in a matter of, we did that 5 days.
Yes.
Wow.
My brother said
5
he
days.
wanted-
5 days.
yes,
5 days.
He wanted to buy a hard drive, so he called the shop. He called the shop. Right? The hard drive was a certain amount on Friday morning. Then he got the money Sunday, but the shop didn't work on Sunday. So he called them Monday morning that the thing that they said, the thing they he said, I'm coming for it. Is it still at the same price? He said, no. It's gone up by 500 cedis. So yeah.
Back to the matter. I think that the 170 something agencies that you have,
so in this
you need to
report,
list them.
yes.
And then we are going to do a poll. I can tell you that about 40% can go and Ghana will not stop.
Okay, so
you know something I learned? Many things can happen without you. One of the lessons I've learned about my problem is that Aloski, life will go on. See,
Life
Godfred,
goes on.
The government can cut about 40% of those agencies. Ghana will not grind to a halt.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Just to put things into context.
Things will even move faster.
To put things into context.
The personal economies of those people will grind to.
No. The country, they can. You know, sometimes you think that, hey, Charlie, if we sack this person, if we stop this ministry, there are some ministries that if they cease to exist, everything will go on as normal.
So think about
nothing will change. They should find those and all of them should go and farm. There's a lot of farmland at a lot of farmland at this place, Afram Plains.
Yes, there
They
is.
should go.
They should go and farm.
Tubers.
Okay, so think about it. If you run through the SOE report, it covers 132 out of 177. So we have 177 of them.
So in fact, do you know the first thing? The 132 minus 177 minus 132 is what?
It's about 45.
Good. The 45 must be scrapped because they couldn't, because the state ownership report, the way they work is that you provide information
and then it's put
they've already disqualified themselves.
it was what the 45 who didn't present their documents, recommend to the president to sack to clear them. The 45 must go. Then the 132 will now look at them and say which of them deserve to exist. Because if you haven't given information to SIGA, it means you yourself, you are not in good standing.
Now, in terms of their profitability, they recorded an aggregate loss in 2020 of 2.61 billion.
Together, no? When you add their profit and their losses, it's a loss of, in brackets,
2.61 billion.
Look at that.
Now, you can say, they've done it because in 2019, the aggregated loss was 5 billion. Okay? So to start
the
with,
losses have reduced.
Yes, so to start with, we are dealing with entities that have a problem being
They will say
profitable.
they didn't put us there to make profit. Because if you are providing water for the people, it's not profit, it's social good. Meanwhile, people have come up with means of calculating social value that you can even put into these documents. And again, I think SIGA itself must be more creative in the way it analyzes these guys. Because if you are going to analyze Ghana Water or you're going to analyze GIPC, they are not there necessarily to make a profit like the way a bank will make profit. Right. So you can look at some of the social benefit and then see if you can convert it. And even in reporting, that's happening. So, but I'm saying that 177, Nathan, some of them, you haven't even heard of them.
So,
177.
Let's hear.
So if you go through
some of the names,
you find some of them are quite popular. Some of them aren't.
But did they give you the list of the 45 who didn't provide their documents?
No, they didn't.
It will be there. It will be in the report. 45 agencies that they couldn't do analysis of. They should go.
Okay, so if running through just the list of the entities, right? You can start with say AECL. You know what AECL? Engineers, architects, Accra Digital Center. I'm sure most people didn't know.
I'm sure Accra Digital Center can be profitable if you look at the way they are. I'm sure they will be profitable.
Bui Power Authority is in there. They are also part of they also do government work. BOST is one. And let's not for a few months ago we were debating whether
every CEO of BOST says they make profit. Sometimes they didn't wear white and blue party that they are making profit. Meanwhile, you don't have strategic stock.
So Cocoa Marketing Company. Right?
You know, let's not even. You see, you don't even have to be an oil expert. you have bulk oil storage.
Yes.
So that in times
like this, we'll have some. Do we have? We don't have.
They have become a glorified BDC.
So cocoa marketing company CMC. The CBG is one consolidated bank. They are also
a lot of money.
Yes, Esla PLC. Those who didn't know, Esla PLC is also classified as an SOE. ECG.
But don't know what Esla is.
They have collateralized them till kingdom come.
Esla is the energy
sector levy.
Yes, energy sector levy. So Esla is a.
So the money has been collateralized.
Yes. It's a special purpose vehicle and is incorporated as a public limited liability company.
It would have been nice to know how many employees these people have for all of them. Did they give you have the list? It would be nice, man, to know how many employees they have. Because Charlie.
ECG also in there. Ghana Airport Company also in there. Ghana Amalgamated Trust. Did you know the Ghana Amalgamated?
Yes, it was under the first banking sector reform thing. They put it up to raise money for some of the new banks.
Okay. Ghana Cocoa Board, Ghana Commodity Exchange, Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing.
Ghana Commodity Exchange is an interesting one. Yeah. It will be interesting to know when they launched that thing. It was meant to really give a second leg to agricultural production, so people can trade. I don't know how much.
Established in 2018.
Let's check data on. Okay. Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing.
Yes, so you have Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing also in there. You've got Ghana Deposit Protection Corporation. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, they are.
Yes, Ghana Deposit. They are
so now that people,
in times like,
people are concerned about their deposits.
This is the time we should.
And their board chair, coincidental, per this document, their board chair as of the time it was released is Dr. Ernest Addison.
Maybe they'll say they need PR so they can communicate.
Yeah, the Ghana Import Export Bank.
Yeah,
Gridco is also in there. Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIF. GEADEC is one. So for those who didn't know, GISDEC, Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development.
Quite new.
GISDEC was established in 2019.
Yes, quite new.
Ghana National Gas Company, GNGC, Ghana Gas. GNPC we know, and
GNPC,
yes,
they're going
broke. Where was this story? I saw
it's on Citi Newsroom.
It's everywhere. This morning.
A lot of
State Enterprise Committee of Parliament warns that GNPC is on the brink of bankruptcy.
Yes.
Anyway, you can go on.
Ghana Ports and Harbors, we know them. Ghana Post.
But I know you don't control your ports anymore.
Yes, so think about that. Ghana Post is there.
Yeah.
Godfred's very good friend is there. Ghana Publishing Company.
Doing quite well.
Ghana Publishing Company. Okay. They are also listed as an SOE. Ghana Railway Company Limited.
I saw a headline yesterday about Ghana Railway Company not doing well. I didn't read the story. I was driving and I saw it on one of the paper front pages. And they had the ministers. Are the lines working? In Pakadan, is it working?
The other day, remember they announced that the Tema. The railway line it was operational again. This was just recently, just a couple of months ago. Be interesting to know if it is still running. I mean, we actually took cameras. Caleb actually was the one. Caleb Kuda went there. He sat on the train, spoke to some people there. There wasn't much patronage at that time because a lot of people didn't know that it was running. But it'll be interesting to see if it still is.
Okay, Ghana Reinsurance Company Limited.
Ghana yeah.
The Ghana Supply Company Limited.
You know, you are okay. Since you are using the SIGA angle, you are adding some of them which are companies. I would have loved for Godfred to go through I wish I had the document. They are like
agencies, yeah.
Agencies, because these are like companies doing stuff, but like agencies who, of course, a lot of these people are also paid, and some of these people are not even paid with the revenue they generate anyway. So yeah,
some of the others, GNPA Limited, for example,
procurement agency.
Yeah, procurement agency. Graphic, we've highlighted. Graphic, we know. The Irrigation Company of Upper Region. Okay.
Today I heard Dr. We're not talking about Palugu multipurpose dam.
They're
still facing financial difficulties.
Financial challenges. That kind
it was in the business.
Yes,
I saw it.
The Minerals Income Investment Fund.
There's a lot of new ones.
There are lots of new ones.
So a lot of new organizations have been created in this.
They have been created. NAFCO, National Food Buffer Stock. Please, do the schools have food? National food, people.
Well, we can check.
National Housing and Mortgage Fund. That's also there. New Times Corporation.
National Housing and Mortgage Fund.
Maybe you should.
You want to go? You want to
visit them? There was anything like
you want to visit them?
Think about it. It was also established in 2018. So in the last few years, we've had a lot of
things established now
being created. Okay.
So are we increasing the size of government or reducing it?
NEDCO, PMMC, all these ones we knew. PSC Tema Shipyard, State Housing Company. That one has existed for many years. TDC Development Company. Also, we speak to Ian quite often. Tor, Godfred's very good friend. Tor.
Look, Bernard.
So
Bernard.
okay, so what does Tor do now?
Tor.
What do they do?
They are waiting.
Are you sure? I said they said they have a glorified tank farm or something.
Yes.
So is it that because of the assets they can't just disband the place, everybody should just go home? Because if you are not refining, you should be refining oil.
No, but the point I'm making is
just hold on, Nathan. Let's spend 2 minutes.
Tor is important, you see, because when you talk about strategic
we're
state
talking
assets,
about fuel prices.
If Tor were working, we would not have too much of a headache. We would have some headache, but not too much of a headache. The Tor situation is baffling. All we've heard is we are trying to fix, we are trying to do this. They've been trying to fix Tor for 20 years.
So let's assume they said, okay, let's do a cost-benefit analysis of having Tor exist or not existing. All right? Yeah, I mean, so you could say let the Chinese refinery be there, let them pay tax, and then disband Tor or something. Maybe that's what you should do.
You're asking the cost-benefit. Let me just run a few numbers by you.
Okay.
Now, cost total, Tor's total revenue, this was in financial year 2019, declined by 49.5%.
Where do they get their revenue from?
Okay, so that's a decline. Now their total revenue decreased by an annual rate of 15% between 2016 and 2020. So the financial years of 2016.
But they don't give the quantum of the revenue.
They don't. Okay, now
and the source.
Okay, they are okay. So this one says they posted 539 million cedis for financial year 2019.
As what, revenue or?
Yes, I think. That's their direct cost, I believe. Okay, but essentially, you notice that Tor's numbers aren't too good. From this, you can actually tell that Tor's numbers aren't too good.
You know, what I'm saying is that when you take something like Tor, you are not even looking at profit. You are not even looking at profit. You are saying that in a time like this,
it should serve a purpose.
You get me? Bust, Tor, and things like this is not even. It's about whether the strategic role for which they were put there. And then the other question is that who is paying for their existence? Are they paying for their existence from their own resources, or we're having to look for money somewhere to pay them? Do you get my point? So it's a very, I don't know. It's just the thing. The government architecture is big. The bureaucracy is large, but it's not very productive. You see. So and a lot of it is subsidized by the taxpayer. So which goes back to my point. You say people in informal sector are not paying tax, but all those people pay for their own food, they pay for their own electricity, they pay for their own everything.
Just to stay on. So let me just run the profitability number for you.
It's my thing. Sorry.
Now the report says Tor posted a net loss of 159 million cedis for the 2020 financial year. Okay. Now they saw this as a percentage improvement on the net loss of, that's the figure I mentioned, 539 for 2019. Okay, but their net profit margin reduced by 79 percentage points from negative 191%.
For me, listen, you know what? Sorry, I'm just saying that Seeger's method of analyzing, and I'm not an accountant, but I just feel that, you see, simple profit and loss doesn't tell the story. Because a profit, somebody can, there's operating profit, there's gross profit, there's net profit, there's all kinds of profit. Anybody can say they are making profit. Cash is the key issue.
Cash is king.
Where is the revenue coming from? What are they producing? What are they selling? Okay, where is the equity coming from? Why have we put money in? For me, the Seeger report must be more nuanced, and you can't put Tor and what do you call this, MIF and Ghana Cylinder in the same pool of accounting.
You feel they need to be looked at different.
They are like Ghana Water. They are doing different things. So for me, so the report itself, for me, I think it's some way.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not what you're trying to do, because there are some organizations like Ghana Water Company is not there to make necessarily a profit. Okay, so if you want to analyze Ghana Water Company, you must look at different matrices.
So you feel that all these entities that are designed to make
we are not even assessing them properly. We are not. So just to release this big report, we do a big press conference. It doesn't do the work for me. That's what I'm saying, that most of you don't have even heard that there's a national mortgage company. And you are a leading broadcaster in the country. So who is benefiting from that mortgage thing? You get me? The bureaucracy is ineffective, and it's like a monster that has to be fed. And if you want a credible plan, I'm keep going back to the credible plan.
Then you would have to lead.
Charlie,
you would have to lead.
You have to cut.
Yeah, I have like 3 bid I want gone.
Oh, give me.
Okay, Himesh.
NAPCO.
What's NAPCO? Which was NAPCO?
You don't know which one is NAPCO. That's for secretariat.
But NAPCO is a program. Is that an organization? Is NAPCO an organization or a program?
Don't they have an office?
They do.
Don't they have administrative staff?
But does it still exist?
Can it not exist elsewhere?
Do they still have NAPCO people?
Fred, are they there? It doesn't exist anymore. So NAPCO is gone.
I don't know.
The program, I think the program.
Yes, the program ended in September.
Yes, it did.
We know the program ended in September. So I'm saying the office has shut down.
So you say NAPCO should go?
Because the youth star secretariat, have they started?
Youth have not been here.
But there is a secretary.
It's almost like NAPCO. NAPCO has moved into youth.
That thing, it should go. What does it do?
Which one is youth start? I'm very confused.
The one that
was recently
from Obatampa.
Is youth start like money for entrepreneurs?
Yes.
For youth.
Yes, that's the new one.
And what's their budget?
It's big. It's big. The budget is nice.
Let's let's look at this carefully. You have existing ministries with a proven track record and institutional memory. You choose to create new programs and new bureaucracies to implement your priority projects. Okay, so why do you waste time to even appoint ministers and vet them? Do you understand? If you don't trust your ministry
existing systems,
agric or local government to implement the project, why do you create a secretariat to report to the presidency to oversee a program that's a priority? So what's the use of the minister in the key ministry?
But you haven't noticed, like, if you just noticed that there are a lot of new agencies that have been set up since 2016, 2017, 2018, handling all kinds of things. Any new project that comes, there's a secretariat for it. But we just set up a clean your frontage or something secretariat.
Are you serious?
Yes. There is a secretariat for it.
For clean your frontage?
Yes, the operation clean your frontage. There's a secretariat.
But I thought the minister of the regional ministers were doing it.
Yes, it sits under that ministry.
For what?
So, they just did this recruitment of people who are supposed to help with that operation.
Is there a
way
work
under that one?
Is there something I don't understand about how governance is done? That for a new project, you always need a new organization.
The Operation Clean Your Frontier Secretary is our asylum down.
Serious?
Oh, yeah, it is. 20th April 2022, citynewsroom.com. Henry Corte has commissioned the Operation Clean Your Frontage Secretariat at asylum
under which ministry?
It will work under him.
The regional ministry.
It's the regional ministry. So for every new one, we've just added something for Galamsey. River body something. They passed out last week. They will be managed from some secretariat somewhere. Oh, Aloski.
So you say you think NAPCO should go if it's not gone already?
If it's not, look, there are plenty.
Who else should go?
You see, if we are talking about the money savings, I'm going to add another one. This one, Agama Lisa, but I know that is where you see they have ways of putting the thing somewhere.
Should go?
Aloski, the sports minister. We must have words with him.
Which agency are you talking about?
Not any agency. The World Cup.
Oh, the World Cup.
The budget that is there for it. It is money.
Actually,
it is a lot of money.
Let me ask you a question. Just the divergent question. I heard somebody say that we shouldn't host the All Africa Games anymore.
Yeah, yes. The former president.
He says we have already spent 200 million, so we can't let it go waste.
What was the budget for the All Africa Games?
We were getting a loan of
170 something million from the Afri-Exim.
Cedis?
$1
to host the All Africa Games.
No, to build infrastructure.
Parliament.
No, but how much will it cost us to host it?
A lot more, because he's saying 200 million.
Minister?
Yes.
Dollars?
Yes. That has already been invested.
No, but you see, that's why I keep saying in Ghana, we don't, you see, we are sentimental. Tell us that the budget for the All Africa Games is $1 billion.
And we are making...
Then we will know whether, but it's like we spent 200 million. So I don't know, maybe it should be a numbers game.
But that is what I'm saying, and that is where normally these things happen. If we are looking to make cuts, as you are saying, we know where the big money items are. The All Africa Games is a huge money item.
As is the World Cup.
As is the World Cup. You see, And the Football Association, yesterday we read on
What's the budget for the World Cup?
We don't know. He says he won't tell us.
But how won't he tell us?
He says he won't tell us. What's wrong with That's my issue.
But why are we accepting this?
He says he won't tell us.
What kind of rubbish
He says
is this?
that all we need to know is that they have budgeted to get to the last day of the World Cup.
Is it his personal money?
If we don't do well, then they'll come and tell us. If we go out in the first round, he'll come and tell us that we're in the first round. It cost us $2 million to be in the first round.
FIFA's already giving us $2.5 million to prep for.
Are we a serious country?
But that is what he has told us. That's why I'm saying that. You see, in looking to make cuts at this time, the World Cup budget is an essential point.
We can even say an austerity program. We don't want to go for the World Cup. We can even say because we are in an austerity program, we don't want to go for the World Cup.
That's all right.
Nothing will happen.
But you see, but I've covered 3 World Cups.
Even if we don't go for the World Cup,
it is one of the largest points.
We didn't go in 2018. Ghana didn't die.
Of dashing things. The World Cup.
Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we've got more for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show.
I think we kind of
the headline was whoa.
Said Access Bank tripling salary. Charlie, we're all going ape and all of that. But yeah, well, it turns out, well, technically, not their workers, but yeah, they are letting. It's great news, of course. They put out a promo called the triple salary promo. So we decided to call them in and ask them, okay, are you giving your workers 3 times the salary, or you're giving other people 3 times their salary? We have Oluwaseun David Akindele. He's head of corporate communications at Access Bank Ghana, and Diana Akon. Diana Akon is head of employee banking at Access Bank. I love the bankers and their titles. Employee bank, big titles.
I know, right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Citi Breakfast Show. How are we doing?
We're doing well, Nathan. Thank you.
Great. Can I call you Shane?
Yes.
David?
Shane's fine.
Great. Shane, let's talk about the triple salary promo. What's that about?
All right, thank you, Nathan, and thank you to your listeners, and of course my staff and management of Access Bank, and of course our customers. The triple salary promo is our latest promo, really, that we have designed to reward our customers, our salaried receiving customers with Access Bank. All we are basically telling them is that we understand what is happening in the system. We are saying to you, we're trying to cushion you, give you some respite. So we have designed this promo just to give back to them and for them to do something very basic, what they've always been doing, taking their salary to the bank, and we reward you for that.
I see.
Yes.
I see. Dana, who's eligible to participate in this promo?
Okay, so for this promo, eligible candidates or eligible employees are those new and existing customers who begin to receive their salaries through the Empire Salary Account. Empire Salary Account is a designed account for employees. So during this promo period, if you receive your salary from the Empire account, you automatically qualify. These customers should have received their salaries through the Access Bank Empire Salary Account at least once during the promo period. And again, customer salaries should not be less than 1,500 cedis.
Oh, I see. So those are the conditions.
Okay.
Those are the conditions.
So-
if you want to enjoy it.
Can someone switch his or her account to qualify for this promo, and how do you do that?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I think the biggest keyword in the promo is switch. So you can switch your salary account from whichever bank you are into Access Bank's Empire Salary account. Nice. If you are also an existing customer of Access Bank and you don't take your salary through the Empire Salary account, it's time for you to actually switch that salary account to Empire Salary account, and you qualify. That's as basic as that. As basic as that. Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, so does it come with some rewards, Dinah? And what rewards can customers expect?
Great. So it comes with amazing rewards. As we have indicated, we have two rewards. That is the automatic rewards, and then we have the draws. So for the automatic rewards, we have two products that we are promoting here. That is the Pick Now, Pay Later, and then Fly Now, Pay Later. With Pick Now, Pay Later and Fly Now, Pay Later, we are saying that once you switch to us, then for a whole year, you can pick any item from our vendors and then you pay the retail price. Okay. We are not going to charge you any interest on it. In the same way, if you want to fly and you are using Emirates, they are our partners. Then you can just buy your ticket, we pay for you, you use a whole year to pay back. Wow. Another interesting thing is that if your salary is with us, 40% of it, we are giving it to you as an interest-free loan. And in that case, the condition is that the first request that you make, that is 40% of your salary, you want it as payday loan. Okay. We give it no interest. The first request that you make, 40% of your salary. Okay. No interest free. You sit in the comfort of your office. You dial *901 *11# and then you follow the process, and then you get to the 40% of your salary. That is called the payday loan, and there will be no interest for the first request.
Interesting. So earlier I was reading the ad, and it said that so you usually give this before payday. Right? So payday is before the end of the month. Yes. Something happens, I need some quick cash.
Quick cash. That you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to go knocking at people's door. This is the product for you.
I see.
I see. I like this. Okay. Yeah. So you've heard it yourselves. The Access Bank Triple Salary Promo. It's here. You can switch your salary to Access Bank. If you already have an account with Access, then you can just switch to the salary account. So, but if you have another account at Access, do you also get some of those benefits? Or this is just for the triple salary promo, those who switch?
You know, when banks come out and do promos, there are always terms and conditions.
Yes.
One of the biggest elements of the terms and conditions is that you have to be an Empower salary customer. So they have an opportunity to switch your account, whatever account it is, from anywhere, even within the bank. It has to be the Empower salary account. Nice. So you can enjoy the benefits of the promo fully. Okay. Fully, yes.
All right. Now, you're doing this in partnership with National Lotteries. Tell us about that.
Okay, interestingly, yes, I think I have to do a shout out to our promo partners at NLA, just to ensure that we reward right and eligible and duly those who are duly eligible to win the promo
Okay.
are the ones being rewarded. So with this partnership with NLA on the Character Lottery platform. What I should mention is that the reward is broken down into daily rewards, weekly rewards, monthly, and then also mega rewards. So NLA is going to help us identify or select the right winner to be rewarded throughout this promo period.
Let me just take you on the reward. So you mentioned daily, weekly, month. So what are some of the rewards we are talking about?
Okay, interesting. We are telling you that we're going to triple your salary.
Wow.
We're going to give you school fee scholarship.
I'd love that. My
Yes.
salary should get
We can do a lot for you. Can do a lot for you now. We're going to also, part of the reward is school fee scholarship. And an employee is one of the top of the list, maybe not the second, or if not for house rent, the next thing is school fees for your children, or for yourself, in fact. So part of the reward is to give you school fee scholarship. We're also telling you that anytime you shop and pay with any of our Visa card, you're going to be getting cashback reward. So we're telling you to spend and we'll give you back for spending. That's also part of our reward we're giving you. And Diana has already mentioned the interest-free loans you're going to enjoy across our Pick Now, Pay Later, which is what we know as the higher purchase, and also the Fly Now, Pay Later. I mean, go anywhere around the world on Emirates and you can pay later. And also any personal loan you take, whether the payday loan, is interest-free throughout the period. And also lots of simple giveaways we give you once you walk into the branch. Once you transact on that Empower Salary account, we give you something back for that.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Access Bank. Look, get to Access Bank. Go and open a triple salary promo account and enjoy some good benefits as well. And they treat you very well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do.
I see. So how can people get in touch? Somebody just tuned in. They've heard all the full interview. They've heard parts of it, and this strikes them. How do they get in touch with Access Bank?
It's as simple as you walking into any Access Bank branch across Ghana, or you can just go on our website and www.ghana.accessbankplc.com, and you can take it from there. Yes.
Nice one.
Wonderful.
Thank
Wonderful.
you, Sharon.
Thank you,
Diana.
Sharon. Thank you, Diana. And you heard it. I mean, the Access Bank triple salary promo. If you don't have an account at Access Bank, please rectify that anomaly. Go to their place, set up an account, get the Empower Salary account, and you've set yourself up to win amazing prizes. Amazing prizes. Great
Anything
stuff.
you want to add?
Anything you want to add?
I will say that this is the best time for employees. So if you are not with Access Bank, this is the time to join us and then benefit from this promo. Times are hard. The best offering Access Bank is giving. We are a caring bank, and we always care for our customers and even those who are not with us. Everybody should get on board.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. We had the Oluwaseun David Akindele. He's head of corporate communications at Access Bank Ghana. We also had Diana Akon, head of employee bank, also at Access Bank Ghana. They were here to talk about the triple salary promo. So if tomorrow morning you hear me reading the LPM, it's not fiction, it's not magic.
It's fact.
It is fact, hardcore fact. And you've heard the two people from Access Bank detailing that. Guys, thank you so much, David.
Thank you for having
Diana,
us. Thank you.
and
Have a
great
beautiful day.
Thank you.
Yes.
and comments have come on the number 0549 986 996. A few messages have come in. This one says, I think cutting the size of government should be in the long term stretched to Parliament. There should be a 40 to 50% cut across all regions in the next elections. A small country like Ghana with such a small population.
I pray they don't increase the number of seats.
275 MPs.
I pray they don't increase it to 300.
Kofi Ntema said that. This one says, Bernard, Asemna Nwakan.
That's all.
Economy gradually grinding to a halt. Drastic measures are needed in dire times like these. Talk of the haircut thing. My colleague is losing it in the office. She says the bank is stealing her money. I have now become an investment advisor after explaining all that happened.
It's sad.
Says from Dansoman Sender. Says CEOs, directors of SOEs should be paid based on the profit they make. If they run at a loss, their salaries should also go negative. All government appointees and people in the machinery should buy their own fuel, cars, and pay their own rent. They are being paid high because of these.
Come to think of it, if we don't make money, we don't get paid. Here, in most private companies, if there's no money, there's no pay. But in government, you will still get your pay. We here, if we don't get money, we all just, and we pay for our own fuel and our own transport.
Everything. This one says the country of autopilot. The fare from Bureaucracy 37 was 6.60p, reviewed to 750p
last week.
Somewhere last week. Today it's 10 cedis. When we asked why, the driver said fuel prices had moved from 15.99 from the last increment to almost 24 cedis per litre. And diesel. They can't wait. Yeah, diesel. They can't wait for GPRTU to do the adjustments.
They are doing their own adjustment.
From Bureaucracy Center. It says, no, Bernard, we need an outright ban on imported goods that we produce locally.
Once we have enough.
Yeah, if we make room for importation, for this importation in the name of high tariffs, they will import it and sell it to the consumer at a high price. All right. This one says the consumer who relatively pays for these tariffs, the government puts on these imported goods. Okay. This one says Bernard is right, and this has been our main problem in Ghana. Those in power don't feel what we feel. They don't use the hospitals they claim they are building. They don't use the schools. They don't go through traffic. Do you know the toll booth removal happened because the roads minister was stuck in traffic at a toll booth at Kubiase on the Accra Kumasi road for 30 minutes? He closed it down that same day. Selassie sent
that was some time back in the Ashanti region, I think.
All right, Koba GH in Price, who says, I used to fill my tank with 825 cedis.
Your car is big.
Yes, last night I spent 1,175 for 64.6 liters, right?
Hey.
For a common Hyundai Elantra.
It's not a big car. Hyundai Elantra.
It's not a big car, but I believe him.
800 to fill a Hyundai Elantra?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I believe it.
Is it diesel?
No.
No. Look at the capacity of his fuel tank. It makes sense.
64.6 liters.
He will pay that.
So you see, you could be driving a 1.6 liter, a 1.4 liter, but the tank could be
fuel. That's what people. The capacity of your fuel tank is what you need to look at. Mine is 60 liters, so I multiply that by how much it costs for a liter of fuel. Yes. You can imagine how much.
He says the most annoying part is I have for sale at the back. No one has called me. That is his bigger problem. This is Koba. So Koba says after buying the 1,000, he wants somebody to take the car off his hands. But nobody is minding him. This government is simply insensitive towards ordinary people of the country. I live at Afinia and work at Laboni. This is my TNT. 4 cedis plus 19 plus 5 Ghana cedis 50 pesos. That's 28 Ghana cedis in only. Meaning in and out 57 Ghana cedis daily.
Which means it changes car twice.
Just let me even turn off my AC. I don't think I need it anymore. This one says, hi, I took a boat ride yesterday. The boat driver was telling me he bought fuel of 300 Ghana cedis, but he had just made 180 Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, the fuel indicator was flashing red throughout the ride. I really felt his pain. Stanley
when
from
will we start getting electric cars?
Hey, I'll skip.
I heard I saw some cars, but they said they are partly electric, partly.
Hybrid.
They are these
the
orange
hybrids.
type cars that are used.
The small ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm told they are hybrid.
Okay.
Which one? The Suzuki.
You see, there are these. Yes, there are these Suzuki cars that have been moving around. Maybe we should explore that too.
Right here.
Hey.
Because electric car will, in the long run, be much cheaper.
Have you seen the cost?
Yeah, but it's like getting solar. if you get solar, initial cost outlay will be high, but over the lifetime of the vehicle, who knows?
Anyway, good morning, Nathan and team. I suggest that this is the time the government should revive the Ayalulu bus to help commuters from Nana being born. If it had worked properly, it would just be on the road for us to just take it. Perhaps they could even subsidize fares for us. Good morning, team CBS. I want to rant small this morning.
Go ahead.
I stay at Ashaiman, Lebanon, and work in Accra.
Oh.
My TNT from Lebanon to Ashaiman was 2 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos. This morning, I paid 3 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos. Then coming back this evening, I paid 4 Ghana cedis
in the
from
same day.
Ashaiman to Lebanon.
Oh.
TNT doubled within 24 hours.
Lord.
Seriously, I don't know what else the government can control, if not transportation, because that was one sector that was well controlled, but now they've lost it.
Oh.
They've lost it all. God have mercy on us. Painful this is. If you say it pet, you'll say it can't pay the day. Good morning, Nathan. It is no more a joke. The transport fares are far more than the so-called 19%. Things are really out of control, no end in sight, no strategy, no plans. We've been left alone to do our own things. Good morning, Bernard. I'm encouraged by hearing your voice.
I don't even know why we say 19%. It's 20%.
Okay.
1/5. Why 19%? How? Anyway.
Did I hear fuel prices increase again on Monday?
Yes.
I am asking, so which level should we get to before the president will hear the voice of the people who elected him into office? Has this happened anywhere in the world? What kind of governance is this? I will say it. It says everybody right. Next time you think before you vote.
Ablade. Why you bought? If you kumazungu, he vex. If you kumazungu tadi.
Beauty from Tema says, please kindly inquire for me why the Ayalulu buses are not running from Accra to Tema. Because the trotro fares are killing us. I work at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and my in and out is 50 Ghana cedis a day and rising. Please, we need alternative transport in Tema. The trotro there, we can't pay again.
Beauty, put in an application to transfer to work at Tema General or the Maritime Hospital.
It will take 2 years. It will take 2 years to process.
50 cedis. So which means that she spends
55. Well, if she's working every day, let's say 30 days in a month, or maybe she won't.
You know, nurses sometimes even work on Saturdays.
So I mean, let's just say she works.
It's like 300 cedis a week
every day.
Let's assume she works 6 days a week.
Yes, 6 days a week. That's 300 cedis by 4. That's 1,200 at least
a month.
A month, just on transportation alone.
Beauty.
All right, more. Hi, Bernard and City. Tell them in their faces this morning. Tell them to their faces this morning. They don't care for us, and so we need people like you to stand. Oh, this one there, I beg. Bernard don't stand for president. Good morning, City. Mr. Avle is speaking my mind perfectly about government. The US-UK style of democracy will not and has never helped us. We should look at the Scandinavian benchmark in social democracy. It is the only way to go. That's in Kunim's thoughts.
Explore that.
Yes. Bernard, why should the GIPC boss be assigned a police guard?
Oh, there are even people below the GIPC boss.
Who has police?
More. Maybe one day we should do a list.
I don't even do that list. People will run away.
I don't know if you remember that day.
Yes, I do. I do.
We were all shocked.
I do.
None of us even knew that position existed.
Yes.
I think it was head of diaspora relations.
Yeah, he had 2
policemen.
Good for the city team. I totally agree with you.
Why should that role have a policeman?
No, but it's not just the. I'm saying if we mention some of the other positions that have policemen.
Maybe we should probably file a right to information request to know. I'm sure they'll say national security, right? Of which government officials qualify for police
protection.
You know, this is not campaign. Let's explain something. One metric of development is presence of police.
Police, yes.
When you drive on Heritage Caravan and you are driving from, say, the Western Corridor Road, you are driving from Sunyai and you are going to Bole, you can drive for 2 hours, you won't see any policeman. But there are human beings littered across. So if you have a policeman to give to somebody who's head of something at the presidency, how are you allocating your resources? And the police people are attacked at night on some of those roads because there's no light there. If you have money to give somebody who works at the office of the presidency 2 policemen, how are you? What are you trying to achieve with large communities with no police? And where robbers are having a field day. So this is not, we are not saying this out of campaign. If you allocating resources also shows the way you see. Seriously. What does it need 2 policemen for?
Status. That's what it is for most people.
Please.
Status. Good morning, City team. I totally agree with you. As citizens, we are not angry enough. It makes no sense how the politicians get free fuel coupons and come and lie to us that they are taking cuts. Where's the proof? We have to demand that it stops. This Taylor. Obodai. Obodai.
Spell the name wrong.
Yes, but it doesn't matter. Obodai. It's all about how the Ghanaian mindset has been trained. The normal person on the street doesn't understand why his minister is not riding a V8.
Who told you?
A normal student in the university doesn't understand why his lecturer is boarding the same taxi he's boarding. So he need not get a car even. So he needs to get a car even if he actually doesn't need it. In India, some of my professors come to school riding a bicycle or a small scooter, and these are people whose 1 month salary can buy a small taxi. The difference is that the students and the people in society don't see anything wrong with a professor riding a bicycle. But down here, we judge the success of a person by his possessions. Cars especially. It's all about the mindset.
How we see them determine their policy? Fine, let us see them whatever we want. But the policy should be sensible. So if the people think that their minister should ride a V8, does that mean that the minister should ride a V8? When did government policy become a question of what people think? I mean, my brother.
And then Godfred, it's not like the president and all these people don't know the reality on the ground. They know, they just don't care. How does the president get to hear people calling him names, who are talking about his slogans, etc.? They hear the things and read about them, They even listen to the Citi Breakfast Show. They are just being pretentious. Aku, not very happy this morning from Dodowa. Bernard and team, you said it all. The sad aspect is the people to make the hard decisions and implement all these measures don't have the guts to do it. After all, they don't feel what we feel. We are forced to make adjustments as individuals whilst they fight to make theirs even better. Listening to you guys, though, gives me some hope. Okay, Jude from Osu. Where did we go wrong as Ghanaians to suffer these economic atrocities from this government? The government plunges everyone into these difficulties. Meanwhile, the problem causers continue to enjoy all the goodies associated with their employment. And they expect us to do what? Ghanaians shouldn't be involved in solving the problems. The government should solve the problems because they originated them. Very upset, Jonathan from Ga West this morning.
And remember, we're also live on Facebook as well, on Citi 97.3 FM. At 10:30, we'll have a Galamsey roundtable. It's on Citi FM, it's on Citi TV. Vivian Kai Loco will moderate. And there will be experts who understand, because essentially the roundtable is looking at Galamsey and a threat to Ghana's water resources.
It is deadly.
There's a very serious water security issue. And we'll be talking to people from Ghana Water.
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Brymer will be there.
Yes.
Professor Chris Gordon, he's a toxicologist, will be there as well. We have other people from academia.
Yes. So we have Dr. Bob Alpha from the Water Resources Commission. We have Dr. Mrs. Adjoa Irenchi Fianco. She's also a researcher in the area. And then we also have a water quality manager from the Ghana Water Company Limited, regional water quality manager. The emphasis is on the water security because, every time we talk about mining and the effects, people are always like, oh, people need work, there's livelihood issue. But trust me, importing water is a serious issue. And it's not sustainable where we are. You'll be hearing from the regional quality manager, it's called Moses Paint, so he'll be speaking as well. He does the quality assurance for the water you drink. Sachet water prices have gone up. Now, a lot of people I know don't even drink tap water. Now, you listen to some of the reports, people say they can't even use the water to even wash their cars. So we are destroying our future very, very rapidly. Now, the reason we need to do this from a water security angle is that I think, look, you can live a few days without food, but I don't know how many days you can live without water, right? So if we don't let people see how serious this destruction of our environment, I think I heard you guys yesterday talk about its effects on food production and things, but I think the water part is the most serious. The water part is the most serious, that the cost of processing water, and it gets to a point that the water may be unprocessable.
Yeah.
That's how serious it is. So,
or even if it may be over-processed. So
yes, too many. Yes.
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 They'll tell you that when it gets to a certain degree, that they can't even treat it anymore.
Yeah.
The amount of chemical past a certain point, it becomes harmful to us.
Yeah.
So there's a limit to which they can apply chemicals to treat it. So I mean, it's a no-brainer.
It's a very serious situation, and water security is national security. Water security is national security. If people don't have access to drinking water, it could lead to a lot of diseases. And some of the presentations will show you how this filtration of chemicals into the water we drink is insidiously causing all kinds of crazy things, deformities in babies, impotence,
Kidney issues.
It's amazing. So for this is what we're trying to lift the veil. You know, a lot of times the Galamsey conversation is always like, okay, stop Galamsey. Look, we are all at risk. And if the government does not act drastically to ban it now, it's going to be very, very serious. So 10:30 will be live on Citi.
10:30 on Citi TV, on Citi FM. But just a quick side note, have you updated your records? Have you linked your Ghana card to your Zenith Bank account? If the answer is no, what are you waiting for? Visit zenithbank.com.gh. Look out for the Ghana card advert and linkage tab on the homepage. Link your card to your account today. It's easy, quick, and very convenient. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. We'll go through a few more messages, but I mean, essentially the biggest takeaway this morning, we are just telling the government that, see, we are in a very difficult time. We have critical decisions to make. Those decisions bother on being wise, being smart, and ensuring that we stay disciplined. Even a talk of a cushion, I don't know, some people think it's far-fetched, whatever, but essentially being disciplined and looking at this balance between revenue and expenditure, that basic balance that we don't see and get. And it is why our budgets over the years have tilted more towards expenditure more than revenue.
Nathan, I was hoping you'd give us quick highlights of Sunday's interview with Dr. Akoto Boafo, because the man says government can reduce the fuel price.
Okay.
He thinks they can.
Okay.
And he proved it. So let's listen to a little.
Yes, Charles Akoto Boafo, former CEO of VRA, he was speaking to Umaru Sandamadu on Eyewitness News.
What seems to be the problem aside the CD issue? Could it be that the war that is happening in Ukraine is still what is affecting us here? Or, like you have always been insisting, the government taxes ought to go so we can have reprieve at the pumps?
Well, look, the real problem is the forex rate, whether we should become paid or what. If you bought fuel at the beginning of the year, you probably pay about 5 or 6 cedis per liter. Nothing has changed, but because the exchange rate has deteriorated by over 100 to 200%, in dollar terms, maybe the cost is the same, but in city terms, you are paying 2.5, 3 times the price. Unfortunately, people here don't earn salaries that are dollar denoted or dollar linked. So it is really affecting the common person, but also affecting business, because we do not have river transportation. We do not have a well-developed railway network all over the country. So everything moves by road. So you cannot expect that I may go to Umaru's hometown and buy some tomatoes there very cheaply and ferry it to Accra at these very expensive fuel costs and still be able to sell it at a very cheap rate. Unless we are really prepared to accept that transportation and therefore fuel costs at the pump, it's what drives this economy, then we are going to live with inflation and the like for many, many more years.
Okay.
But apart from the... Go on.
You land.
No, you go on.
Because you're going to say that aside that, which means you're going to add something. Is it apart from that, there were other things you wanted to do?
At the moment, there is a kind of a jungle market going on in the fuel pricing.
And this is a global jungle market, not local, right?
No, I'm talking about local jungle market. The regulation works because we have set up windows by which price changes will be announced. There are 2 changes for every month. But even more important than that, the MPA as the regulator is supposed to ensure that it announces what are called maximum retail prices so that no consumer gets cheated by the oil marketing companies. Right now, it has reneged on its duty and given it to COPEC, which ironically is supposed to be representing the interest of consumers, but doesn't. It is now the chief cheerleader for marketing companies who just keep announcing prices nilly-willy. So even the windows have gone off. So people will announce prices 1 week before a window, and then when the window comes, they will increase the price again. That's not the way the deregulation was set up. It just keeps piling the pressure on. And the reason why I say the Russia-Ukraine is not really a factor, yes, oil prices have gone up. But we also, as oil exporter, we do make windfall profits. We are set up to raise 100 cedis from our oil sales at $50. At now $90, $100, we are going to get 200 cedis. So there's windfall profit of 100%. If we are disciplining people and we cut the excess profligate expenditure, we should be in a position also to use some of the windfall profits to moderate and stabilize petroleum prices so that there's certainty in what is going on. But no, it looks like people are only interested in how much revenue can be taken from the windfall profits and given into government coffers because there is no stop on the excessive expenditure. So, yes, Russia-Ukraine is causing the trouble. It's made global oil prices go up. But global oil prices, the problem is that the government pass on all the costs onto us consumers. So prices are adjusted to reflect the current global oil prices. But the windfall profit, nobody wants to talk about it. And then somebody says, I feel your pain. You cannot feel the pain of Ghanaians when you run 60 strong SUV convoys to travel around the country.
Suggestion that currently, based on all the analysis on the ground, a liter of diesel should not cost 23 cedis, and that this is because of perhaps profiteering by the OMCs?
I have not done any analysis, but I can tell you that what they are doing is that it's being priced by the most expensive dollar that is bought by an OMC. Not the most efficient, but the most expensive. You know, economists of scale suggest that if one BBC, which is well resourced, is going to supply.
So that was Charles Rekubobe. He was speaking to Mario Sandamadu on Eyewitness News.
Add last one before you say. There's one go something. That one. That one too, they should move it.
No, maybe we'll do a proper analysis of that later. But I think what Tarzan is saying, which I agree with, is that the MPA cannot behave the same way it used to behave before the crisis we are facing. And the government's windfalls they are getting from the higher fuel price on the global stage at some point must reflect in what we pay. This amount we're paying for petrol is not sustainable. It's not going to work. The government has to do something drastic about it.
All right, that's our show for the morning. Many thanks for listening. So I had Bernard with me. I had Kokui, I had Godfred. Show produced by Fred Jabano, Caleb Kuda, Godfred Odum. Helped us out on technical. My name is Nathan Quao. We are back tomorrow morning with another edition of the Citi Breakfast Show. Keep your dials locked on Citi 97.3. Remember, from 10:30 we have the Galamsey roundtable, moderated by Vivian Kai Loco, and it will be on Citi TV as well. Up next is the news at 10. Caleb Kuda has that for us.
In the news, the Committee on